Get out!
On Friday, the home run watch continued against Brian Bohannon. McGuire hit one over 500 feet. We're surprised now when it doesn't go that far. Later against power pitching Antonio Osuna, he went deep again, and now he is sitting on 42 home runs. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. As Tom Boswell of the Washington Post called it, it's the National Home Run Watch. McGuire, Griffey, Sosa, and we wake up every morning. We watch SportsCenter. In the evening, we watch baseball tonight. We check the papers. We always want to know, did McGuire, did Griffey, did Sosa, did they hit one? Tonight, if McGuire hits one, we'll be here to see it, Joe.
Well, you're right. And McGuire started his assault opening day, Johnny, at the first grand slam on opening day in Cardinals history. And one thing to remember, last year, after the All-Star break, he had 27 home runs. If he duplicates that feat this year, he will be over 60. I think he's close enough now that even if he goes into a slump, he will get around 60. He just has to get hot in September.
And he has not really had a long home run slump this year, so we'll see about that. Tonight he faces Chan Ho Park, the Dodger A's, and he has been at his best here of late. Could be a good test for him. Speaking of the Dodgers, they're in that wild card race. They can get very close if they can win here tonight. And the Dodgers have some power of their own. Guys like Gary Sheffield, Raul Mondesi, both of them hit homers here yesterday.
Well, I think the Dodgers are coming. You have to look out for the Dodgers. I really believe that. Now that they've got Jeff Shaw as a closer, I think they're a much better ball club. And never forget that Sheffield and Johnson and some of these players have been down the stretch before. And I expect them to perform well for the Dodgers the rest of the way. And I tell you what, you better watch out for them.
All right. So, big ball game for the Cardinals. They're starting to disappear in the Central. For the Dodgers, they are just starting to emerge in that wild card race. We're in St. Louis. The Dodgers and the Cardinals. The home run watch continues. Stay with us. ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Janus No Load Mutual Funds. Did we mention that it's hot in St. Louis? And I mean, it's hot. Joe, I think the heat index, you know, how hot it actually feels,
yeah,
is over 200 degrees.
Well, you won't get any argument from me on that.
The Cardinals have taken the field. Glenn Hoffman, the new Dodger manager. The team is 13-10 since Hoffman became manager, and Tommy Lasorda became general manager a little bit less than a month ago. Big crowd gathering for this one. And here's the Pepsi batting order for Hoffman's Dodgers. Wilton Guerrero leads off at second base. Eric Young is on the disabled list. Alex Cora is at shortstop. Jose Vizcaíno is on the disabled list. Raul Mondesi in center field. And batting third. Since going into the third spot, he has been very hot, as you can see there. Gary Sheffield has been the slugger and has hit real well for the Dodgers since coming over. He's hitting cleanup. Eric Karras in the lineup at first base. Matt Luke in left field. Bobby Bonilla on the disabled list. Adrian Beltre at third base, hitting seventh. A young rookie, and they feel he's a very fine prospect. Charles Johnson, the former Marlin, is the catcher, and Chan Ho Park is on the mound, pitching his best ball of the year right now. And for the Cardinals, veteran right-hander, he's been the Cardinal ace, Todd Stottlemyre.
And we'll get an early indication of how well Stottlemyre will throw tonight, John, by watching his slider. If he has a good slider, he will be able to stay in the ball game. He has not pitched well in his last 3 outings, and mainly it's because his slider has been pretty flat and not doing too much. And here's a look at the defense. They got Gant back in left field. Ron Gant can help them with their power, and Kelly at second base is taking over for the injured Delino DeShields. So, and Ross Clayton is also back, so you've got 3 new additions to the lineup.
And here we go, Wilton Guerrero, who was being touted as the Dodgers' next Rookie of the Year when last season began, but was not up to it this year. It was Eric Young's job, although they traded for Young late last season. And Guerrero's in there now with Young on the disabled list. And Guerrero has made the most of this opportunity. He's hitting .270, switch hitter, no homers, 7 driven in.
I think the Dodgers are a pretty good ball club when they have Eric Young at the top because he's a very good base stealer. He gets on base. He's a good hitter. And Guerrero is still learning to be a leadoff hitter.
One strike, the count. And Stottlemyre tries to curve him, misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, it's a hot night to play, to be a spectator, and especially to umpire behind home plate. Bill Hahn behind the plate. Guerrero drives one into right center field. Jordan on the run. Nice catch. And they got some great speed in that outfield, Joe.
And, John, that was a very nice catch. That ball was right in the gap. They were shading him around a little bit, but watch the good jump that he gets. He's already moving, and look, he takes a perfect angle at it, and he just gets there. Nice play there by Brian Jordan. And that's why he was such a great defensive back. He could track him down. The football, that is.
Now, Alex Cora, the younger brother of Seattle's Joey. He is out on 1 pitch. As Pat Kelly throws him out. Kelly, the former Yankee. So 2 men are gone, and here is Raul Mondesi against Stottlemyre. The other umpires, you saw Bill Hahn, Angel Hernandez, Randy Marsh, and Pat Connors working the bases. The Giants, who started the day as the leader in the wild card race in the National League, were defeated again, losing at Houston in extra innings. The Cubs, who started the day a half game behind them, are in extra innings in Miami with the Marlins right now. Mondesi with a swinging strike. The Dodgers started the day 4 games out of the wild card race. Tony La Russa, who after leading this club to a division title 2 years ago, has seen the Cardinals fall to the depths these last 2 years, although he's very hopeful that they'll be able to rise out of it before this season is finished. But, Joey, they're starting to run out of time to rise.
John, Stottlemyre is one of the few pitchers who will pitch inside. He will use the outside part of the plate, so he will come off the plate inside and will pitch inside. And I think when he does that, he's very effective.
Mondesi, 22 homers, 62 batted in. Now playing center field for L.A. And he struck him out. And the inning is over. 3 up and 3 down, an 8-pitch inning for Stottlemyre. Mark McGwire will be coming up third. The home run watch continues. Field. Even Mother Nature apparently is a McGwire fan here in St. Louis right now. Here is the Pepsi Cardinals batting order. Royce Clayton leads off at short. Ray Lankford in center field. Then McGwire hitting third with 42 home runs. Brian Jordan, not too bad either, hitting behind him. Not a long ball threat particularly, at least by comparison to McGwire, but he's hitting .328. And then Ron Gant, and he has had the hot hand since coming back from the disabled list just 8 days ago. John Mabry at third base. Pat Kelly, the former Yankee, at second. Todd Stottlemyre hits 8th in the order. And Tom Pagnazzi, the catcher, is hitting 9th. More on that later. But on the mound for the Dodgers, right-hander Chan Ho Park, and he has been doing his best pitching here lately. 3 consecutive starts, only 1 earned run allowed.
And, John, he's the guy that they've always said had great stuff on this staff, but he had a sore back at the beginning of the season, and he struggled early, but he has been throwing the ball exceptionally well lately.
Park against the Giants, the Padres, top 2 teams in the division, Dodgers division. Has been excellent. Only 1 earned run to those 2 teams combined. And the Texas Rangers, one of the great hitting teams in the American League. No earned runs in 8 1/3. Titan 238 average, as you see. Just off the outside.
One thing that Park has is a fastball that will move back into the right-handed hitter. He started a first pitch off the plate. It caught the outside corner. That one stayed out, but he can run the ball in, which keeps the right-handed hitters honest. And there's that beautiful curveball that he throws.
We saw him very early in the season. It was right after he'd hurt his back, and he was having a real hard time getting that curveball over and really getting anything over consistently. So the count is 2-2 now to Royce Clayton. Chan Ho Park, who was really the Dodgers' premier pitcher the second half of last year. That's a ball. 3-2. Lankford on deck. McGwire up third in the inning.
Well, with Ramon Martinez gone, you know, he has a chance to be the ace. He has been just by the way he's pitched lately.
And a walk to Royce Clayton.
Well, let's take a look at the Dodgers on defense. New shortstop and third baseman. Beltre at third and Cora at shortstop. Vizcaíno is on the disabled list. And Beltre is a guy that they think is going to be a big star, and I guess that's one of the reasons they felt like they could trade Konerko.
Here's Ray Lankford. And that's a ball. Lankford had a big year for the Cardinals last year after starting the season on the disabled list. But he has not been able to find that same touch thus far this season. Only 14 homers. More than half the season. There's the Park not getting the ball over, and now Charles Johnson runs out to talk to him. 2-0 the count. Lankford had 31 homers last year and a .295 average in only 133 games, but he's just not had the same magic this year, even though he's been hitting ahead of McGuire. That's supposed to help you, right?
That's the greatest spot to hit this year. Hitting in front of McGuire. It's kind of like Roger Maris was hitting in front of Mickey Mantle. That's great for you.
But it just hadn't worked out that way for Lankford.
You know, John, I noticed when we started the ball game, Chan-Ho Park was throwing the ball really well. He had a good rhythm. After about 3 pitches, he seemed like he started throwing the ball differently. His motion changed, and he has not been able to throw a strike since. I'll try to show you the difference. It's like he was rushing, which is what he's doing now. He's like his body is getting out in front too quickly again. And he's throwing across his body to the right-hander hitting Clayton and missing away with the 2 fastballs after he threw the first one perfectly.
3-1. Lankford thought it was a ball, but Bill Hahn calls him back. 3-1. McGuire on deck. 98 degrees is the game time temperature. This game started after 7 p.m. local time. 98 degrees in the evening. Left field. Luke is back. Still going back. All the way back, and it's gone. A home run.
Well, John, you mentioned the wind is blowing out to left field because when the ball was first hit, it didn't seem like it was going that far. And it just kept going. And Lankford gets his 15th home run of the season.
Well, Park has been touched for 2 before even facing McGuire. And here's Big Mac. Tries to curve it, misses badly with ball 1. Well, Ray Lankford for the 2nd day in a row hits one into the Dodger bullpen going the opposite way. Swung at it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Those people are in the upper deck in left field, down the line, what is called Big Mac Land. McGuire has hit some up there this year. Ooh, he came after him, Joe.
Well, if you're going to go after him, you better get it up and you better get it in. And that one was almost up and almost in.
That one was,
yeah,
that
on
was
the
almost,
borderline.
That was almost in Big Mac Land.
Right.
Oh, yeah, strike 3 call. And Hahn is calling that high strike right now.
Well, he has a beautiful curveball, John, and a lot of reasons people, pitchers do not throw that overhand curveball. They don't get that high strike or get it called a strike. But he has thrown a beautiful one tonight, and both times he's thrown that curveball, he's gotten a strike call. And we'll take a look at it. I thought it was a strike personally, but I'm not hitting. See, that ball is about waist high, but he thought it when it crossed the plate, it was up. And he's standing in the batter's box, so he's got a better view of it than I have up here.
It was the Big Mac stare. 1 down, and here's Brian Jordan. So, suddenly, Joe, after giving up the 2-run homer to Lankford, Chan-Ho Park finds himself with McGuire up there. Jordan hitting .328. Is that curveball in there for a strike?
Well, if he continues to throw a strike with that pitch, you know, he can bounce back here because that fastball of his is always effective, and that curveball will make it even more effective. See how you get a little late on the fastball once the guy starts throwing that good curveball. Because when the ball starts up there, you're not sure if it's a curveball or a fastball, and at that split second, it gets on you a little quicker.
Brian Jordan, 4th in the league at the start of the day with his .328 average. Hit it hard. Mondesi can't get to it. It goes all the way to the wall, and Jordan's got great speed. Luke backs it up. Jordan digging for third. He's going to make it there easily. A stand-up triple. And what happened to Mondesi?
Well, Mondesi has had some problems adjusting to center field. He looked like he lost that ball, though, because it looked like he was not really, he was going after it, but he didn't know exactly where it was going to end up. But you also have to give Luke a heads-up play for backing that play up. This is not a good pitch. It's supposed to be inside. Watch where it ends up, right out over the plate. That's not a good 2-strike pitch. Now, Mondesi was after it, and it just seemed like he didn't know where it was going to end up. And just not a good play, but good job by hustle by Luke to get over there and keep Jordan from scoring. Would have been an inside-the-park home run otherwise.
And the curveball misses Duran Gant. Gant, 214 for the year, but as you saw when we gave the lineups, he's been hot since coming off the disabled list. Fastball just barely misses on the outside. 2-0.
Well, Gant's a good fastball hitter, especially middle of the plate in. So you'll see Park try to keep the ball away from him with the fastball and throw him some breaking ball.
3-0. A left-handed hitter, but not a lefty with power. John Mabry is on deck. 2 runs in for the Cardinals and a runner at third. Only 1 out. Karras pulls in at first. The rest of the infield backed up. Gant did not look very good there on 3-0.
Well, you knew he was going to have the green light because the infield's playing back, and if he puts the ball in play, they will score a run. So in that situation, you do not have him take a pitch.
Good movement on that fastball. 3-2. Gant has struck out about 25% of his at-bats this year.
Well, Park's fastball, as I said earlier, moves into the right-handed hitter, and that's a good example of it right there. You can start the ball off the plate outside, catch the outside corner, and move it from the middle of the plate in.
The Dodgers now bring their infield in with 2 strikes. 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. He has had a 3-0 count, and Park comes back to get him waving. It's 3 in a row. That last one, 95 miles an hour.
Well, it's interesting, the motion. I mean, all of a sudden he's throwing the ball again, and the ball's moving. He just lost it when Clayton was at the plate, fell behind Lankford and paid the price. Now he's got the moving fastball again.
2 down the infield, back to normal depth. Jordan still at third. Here is John Mabry. That's ball 1. Mabry, 254, 6 homers, 28 driven in. Cardinals jumping ahead here today, but that has not meant a whole lot to them, especially this week. They were ahead by 5 runs yesterday and lost the game to the Dodgers. The second 5-run lead this week that they had that they lost. Hard times for the Cards. 3-0. The right-handed batting Pat Kelly is on deck. So keeping that in mind, this is a runner at third that La Russa, I'm sure, feels they need to get him home. They can't waste these opportunities. That's the walk to Mabry. Second walk of the inning in Park. On this hot, steamy St. Louis night has already thrown 29 pitches, and Charlie Huff will go out and talk with him. The new Dodger pitching coach. He replaced Glenn Gregson when the changes came down. So now Pat Kelly will bat as Huff has had his say. I mean, just an odd first inning, Joe. I mean, with Park from one batter to the next, you don't know what part you're going to get.
Yeah, he seems to be losing his rhythm for 3, 4, 5 pitches at a time, and then he regains it, and then he loses again.
That. Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. The first 2 pitches of the ball game he threw well, and then he stopped throwing. So we'll see what happens here.
That Kelly, that's a hard sinker for a strike. Former Yankee. In fact, at one point, they thought he was going to be their second baseman for years to come. Very athletic, excellent speed, good range. But he had a lot of injury problems in New York. And now is in St. Louis. Yesterday, he hit a long home run here. He comes up here with Jordan at third, Mabry at first. 2 runs in. Kelly playing against the third Cardinal game. That curve is too high. Kelly is the 7th place hitter, and the pitcher is the man on deck.
And a lot of times you say, well, okay, I'll go ahead and pitch around this guy and get to the pitcher, but you have to stop pitching around people at some point. He pitched around Mabry as well.
Good heat on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think you see the result of Charlie Huff's visit to the mound. He said, I want you to reach back and throw the ball, use your fastball. And that's basically what he has done here.
2-2, 2 on, 2 out.
Almost saw history in the making right there. I've never seen that play work before. So we almost saw it work once. Well, it's a fake to third. Mabry almost takes off, and then he slips. And he does get back.
You know, the first guy I ever saw do that was Steve Busby, Kansas City, about 25 years ago. And at that time, it worked all the time for him. Kelly down on strikes. Sheffield coming up, then Karras and Luke. 2-0 St. Louis. From hard on the shores of the great Mississippi, the mighty Mississippi. John Bennett, Joe Morgan. Sunday night baseball. The Cardinals 2, the Dodgers 0. We had a first-inning home run, but it wasn't by the man you might have thought. McGuire struck out. But Ray Lankford hit a 2-run homer. So the Dodgers come up trailing now against Stottlemyre. Sheffield to lead it off. And it is 0-1. Quite a contrast in first-inning pitching. John Hope Park threw 34 first-inning pitches. Labor struck out 3, walked 2. Todd Stottlemyre just threw his 9th pitch of the game. He breezed through the first inning. Slider misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sheffield, since becoming a Dodger, has hit .341. 54 games with LA. He's got 11 homers and 39 batted in. And the curveball is popped up. Mabry, and there is 1 away. Now Eric Karras. Setting sun. The sun not on the field at all, but still shining out in the center field stands, and in the upper deck in straightaway center field. Here's Karras. Right to the second baseman. Yep. 2 down. Stottlemyre's making it look easy so far.
Well, one of the reasons that you see a lot of guys hit the first pitch from Stottlemyre is if they get a fastball, they think they can handle it, they go ahead and hit it. Because he can move the ball in and out, and he does have a pretty good slider. So you do not want to fall behind the count if you can help it.
2 down, nobody on. Matt Luke, the hitter. Eric Karras, a 100 RBI man, very consistently. Opened this year in the disabled list, but still has a shot at 100 RBIs. Matt Luke, on the other hand, a Rule 5 draftee out of the Yankees organization. Mascan. And that curveball misses low. Tom Pagnazzi wearing Mascan for the benefit of our viewers, and we certainly appreciate it. Just right down behind home plate. Oh, he's getting the new ball, yeah. It looks like Bill Hahn was playing a little trick on him there when he handed that new ball to him. Well, part of that background, Joe, I mean, not right behind the pitcher, but just above the pitcher. Still that brightness in the upper deck out there.
I really don't think that has as much effect on seeing the ball as just the fact that it's twilight. I think that has more effect on it. The ball will appear to be a little dirtier than it really is.
2-2 to Matt Luke. That's a base hit to right field. Tried to come in on him, and Luke jumped on him.
Well, we talked about Stottlemyre going in and out on the hitter, and he came in off the plate earlier in this count. See, this pitch is supposed to be inside, and again, it moves out over the plate, just like the one that Jordan hit off of Chan-Ho Park. If you're going to go inside, you're going to miss inside. Don't miss out over the middle of the plate, because some of these sluggers will make you pay by hitting it into the seats.
Adrian Beltre, young player, up out of the minor leagues, and he lines one into left center field for a base hit. Lankford hustles over to cut it off, and he'll keep Luke at second base.
Well, that's where that speed in the outfield comes in. You talked about cutting that ball off. Not only did he keep it from going to the wall, but he kept Luke from moving around to third base. And this pitch is up. Fastball up and out over the plate. Again, it's supposed to be away. Look where that pitch is. Right, look at it, right in the middle of the plate. And that's what Major League hitters will do with pitches in the middle of the plate.
Here's Charles Johnson now, former Marlin. And I would think the one guy, Joe, who had to be totally shocked by that trade, the Piazza trade with the Marlins. I mean, he was a local guy in Florida, signed his first contract there, become a star there, and was emerging as one of the best catchers in the game.
Won a World Series there, so you're right. And remember, Sheffield, Bonilla, Eisenreich, they'd all been traded a couple of times before, so they were used to it. So Johnson has been the one that's had to make the biggest adjustment to being traded, you know, to the Dodgers. And you see Tommy Lasorda, he's the Dodgers' new general manager. But Charles Johnson was the one that was most affected by that trade, and it's taken him a time to settle down. He's made a lot of errors. It's just been tough for him mentally.
And the count now is 3 balls and no strike. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the other guys, they expect these things will happen. But Charles Johnson, I mean, had to be asking himself, how did this happen to me?
Right. I mean, they wanted me to be a star here. I became a star, and all of a sudden I'm gone.
And he has not done well since the trade.
And Bonilla, part of his problem is that, you know, he was injured from the time the season started. He never got healthy this year. He didn't get a good full spring training in. He's had wrist injuries. He just had problems all year long. And finally, he's on the DL. We'll see what happens. He had an illness as well, so he's had a tough season.
The squibber, base hit just over the head of Kelly. Coming in to score is Luke. Beltre goes to third. Charles Johnson hit one right off the end of the bat. It looked like an onside kick. 2-1 St. Louis.
Well, I'm sure Charles Johnson said, hey, they catch my line drives too. So he's hit this one off the end of the bat, and a good effort there by Kelly, but no chance to make a play on that.
Surely you're not going to steal.
Charles Johnson went through an entire season without making an error. Tony La Russa, as Chan-Ho Park comes up, signaling out to his infield defense. Chan-Ho Park, a pretty good hitter. We saw him hit a triple earlier this year on Sunday Night Baseball. On the right field line, but even amongst the spectators is Brian Jordan. 0-1 the count. That's from out, Joe, in the seats that only McGuire can reach. Can you imagine? I mean, some of the balls he has hit here have astounded even the opposition. Guys who would think would be upset about it have just been awestruck by some of his blasts.
Ooh, nice play there. Keeping that ball in front of him. That could have scored a run there. Pagnozzi has always been a pretty good defensive catcher, though, and he got his entire body in front of that one.
2-1 St. Louis. The Dodgers with 3 consecutive 2-out singles here from Luke, Beltre, and Johnson to get a run home. Beltre third, Johnson at first. McGuire plays behind him as Park tries to help himself here. Royce Clayton and the put out for Kelly at second. Johnson is fourth. That's the inning. Todd Stottlemyre hitting 8th We'll be leading it off when we come back. Then Pagnazzi and Clayton. 2-1, St. Louis. Cardinals 2, Dodgers 1 as we go to the last of the second. And here is Todd Stottlemyre hitting 8th in the order to lead it off, taking ball 1. We talked to Tony La Russa about why his pitchers have been hitting in the 8th spot here lately. That does not enter into the reasoning, but it's not bad. Stottlemyre with the base hit. But we asked La Russa about why he's doing this, and here's what he said.
In our lineup, 3 of our most productive hitters hit 2, 3, and 4. You know, our number 2 hitter is not like a normal guy who's just there to advance runners. Ray Lankford is an outstanding RBI guy, and the reasoning more than anything else is if the pitcher is 8th and you put a position player 9th, like usually lately it's been our catcher Eli Marrero or tonight Tom Pagnazzi, you have a better chance to get on base and add that 1 extra hitter along with your true leadoff man ahead of 2, 3, and 4.
All right, so there's the logic behind it. But we noticed that it has not often been done in baseball. I asked Tommy Lasorda about it before the game. He said, hey, Branch Rickey was a baseball genius, and he never did it.
Well, the game's a little different now than it was when Branch Rickey was a manager as well. But I understand, you know, what Tony's trying to do. Tony's only trying to get more men on base in front of McGuire so they'd have to pitch to him.
Pagnazzi to third. Beltre to second, 1. Guerrero back to first.
Nice turn there. And it looks like Stottlemyre injured himself at second base. In fact, he's still down. He slid over trying to break up the double play, which a lot of times pitchers forget when they get on base that they are not used to running the bases, and they go after the second baseman like a position player, and he seems like he may have hurt his hip.
He's walking off under his own power, which is good news, but we'll see.
Well, the ball's not hit that hard, so it was going to be a tough double play chance, but you have a slow runner in Pagnazzi running down the line. A nice turn here by Beltre. He gets it over to Guerrero. He comes across the bag and makes the throw, and there you see Todd Stottlemyre trying to go in and break up the double play. And here's Stottlemyre again. Comes in real hard right there. I don't see where he injured himself, but he did go in hard.
One ball and no strikes to Royce Clayton, the leadoff man. Brad Henderson, the assistant trainer, went off with Stottlemyre. I don't see anybody warming up in the Cardinal bullpen, so it looks like he's going to be okay. Clayton walked his first time. He chased a parked curveball out of the strike zone there. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. The Cardinals lead the Dodgers 2-1 in the second inning. Lankford would be next. Well, things just didn't work out the way they were supposed to there, Joe.
Well, one of the pitfalls of having that position, a pitcher hitting that position, is just what you saw. He leads off the inning. That was not a normal situation. Normally, you have the pitcher leading off the inning, he's going to make it out. And now you start the inning, you know, with 1 out, which is what a lot of teams try to do. They want the pitcher to lead off the next inning. That's why you see them pitch the 8th place hitters a lot of times with 2 outs in the runner in scoring position. They want the pitcher to lead off the next inning.
And he swung at it. And that ends the inning. 4th strikeout for John Hofar. We go to the third. Top of the order, Guerrero, Cora, and Mondesi. 2-1, St. Louis. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Rude Central Air Conditioning Systems. Remember, it's Rude reliable. John Miller and Joe Morgan with you. Your Sunday night telecasters. Top of the order with the Dodgers here. Joe, you must have forgot to pack our Rude air conditioner.
Yeah,
this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot. I'll bring it next week.
Well, it's a week too late if you ask me. This is when we really needed it. I was really counting on it. That's a curveball from Stottlemyre, who seems to be just fine. That's great. dropping curveball. 0-1 to Guerrero. 2-1, St. Louis leading in the third. Cora is on deck, and then Raul Mondesi. Lankford into left-handed. There is one away. Let's get an update now from Larry Beal.
Thanks, John. Network MCI takes us to Arlington for Tampa Bay and Texas in the second inning. Here it comes, and there it goes. Juan Gonzalez with his 27th homer of the year comes off of Brian Recar's solo shot. 104 ribbies for Juan gone in a 2-1 game. The Cubs beat the Marlins 7-6-12. Chicago leapfrogging ahead of San Francisco in the wild card race. Gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Larry. And actually, we had Gonzalez with 103 coming in.
So 104 then. No, he don't need a solo.
Oh, it's a solo. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
104.
I got it.
Yeah, 104.
A solo. All right.
Solo. At this point, I think he's just happy to get a ribby.
Well, you know, he did not have any RBI since the All-Star break until last night. Cora. Look out, McGuire. Dropping back. Screen over the middle. Completed to Stottlemyre.
I tell you what, that shows a lot of athletic ability on the part of Todd Stottlemyre there, because actually that should have been the second baseman's ball. He should have called McGuire off, because that's a tough play. And watch, this is a tough play for McGuire, because he's running not only away from Stottlemyre, but he's got to hit him on the move, as you said. And Stottlemyre, nice play to catch it and find the bag. See, where's McGuire's way over near the second base position when he makes this toss back, but he does pretty well. Hits him on the run, and they get it done.
And his brother, Dan, was a quarterback.
Yeah. He started with the Seahawks.
Base hit to left field for Mondesi. First ball swinging. He struck out his first time, and he gets the Dodgers.
Perfect. I should have
Fourth
taken
hit.
blitz there.
All of their hits have been singles, coming with 2 down and nobody on, or starting innings with 2 down and nobody on. They get 3 in a row in the second to get a run. Now here's Sheffield. Now, one thing to note about Mondesi, Joe, if this were last year, we might see him try to steal a base. He became the Dodgers' first 30-30 man in their history last year. Had 32 steals. He has only 6 stolen bases this year, and he hardly ever runs. Gary Sheffield, the hitter.
Well,
there he goes. And there's number 7.
Well, he looked like he was going to run to me, John, but, you know, I didn't want to dispute.
No, he never steals now. I'm telling you, he never goes. Trust me on this one.
Well, he got a good jump there. Stottlemyre semi-slide step. He doesn't have the high leg kick, but it's a tough pitch for Pagnozzi to throw on a breaking ball down. He gets up and throws it high, and Mondesi in easily at second base.
7th steal of the year for Mondesi. Now a base hit can mean a run. That is a called strike with a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike to Sheffield.
You know, part of the reason Mondesi may not be running, John, is because he's hitting in front of Sheffield now. Sometimes, you know, they don't want you running in front of a good hitter like Sheffield.
He was hitting 5th most of the time last year.
Right.
Behind the Piazza. From Massican. That is a strike call to the outside.
But that's no excuse to have only 7 anyway. I still think you should have more than that.
Well, he just never runs, Joe. Never. Except on Sunday night baseball. And then you cannot keep him on the bag. It's slowly. McGuire shovels it off. 2-1 St. Louis. We go to the last of the third, and the power is coming up. The home run watch continues. Lankford, then McGuire and Jordan, the big guys. But the Cardinals are coming up on Wednesday night. The red-hot Atlanta Braves take on the Philadelphia Phillies, who are right there in the wild card race, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Then these same St. Louis Cardinals travel to 3Com Park at Candlestick Point to take on Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants, suddenly a half game behind in the wild card. It'll be Wednesday night from San Francisco. McGuire returning to the Bay Area, where he played his entire Major League career across the Bay with Oakland until last year. John Ho Park with a slow curveball, a swinging strike for Lankford. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lankford homered to left, 2-run homer for the Cardinals' 2 first-inning runs. McGuire and Jordan will follow. Up into the twilight. Wilson Guerrero
think Guerrero said he didn't see it for a while, so Cora came over to help him. And he said, well, he said, I got it. And Cora said, yes, he was calling it.
Mark McGwire struck out looking his first time. Got the big cheer there. And that's signed. Big Mac hit number 43, but what they really want is number 62. Can't take it. Mark McGwire. The San Francisco papers had numerous articles about him today in anticipation of his arrival on Wednesday. Whoa! Joe, did you feel that?
Well, I tell you what, Park's got a good enough fastball that if he can stay in tight and above the belt, he has a chance with that fastball, but he better not let it move out over the plate.
And the earth trembled. The big cut. That field. And it's just a 300-foot single from McGwire.
Well, and Park is definitely lucky. And we take a look at this pitch. Charles Johnson is set up on the outside corner. He just came in hard with a fastball. Now he wants to go away with a fastball. See where Johnson is? Now watch where this pitch is. I mean, that is like see you later territory. He's just lucky that McGwire didn't get under it. That was a bad pitch to Mark McGwire anyway.
So McGwire gets a single. Now Brian Jordan, who tripled his first time. Ball that seemed to be lost in the twilight by Mondesi. Guerrero to second one. And Cora to first, a double play. And just like that, the Cardinals go down. We're heading to the fourth inning. Eric Karras coming up. 2-1, St. Louis. Cardinals 2, Dodgers 1. John Miller and Joe Morgan here. Our 9th season of Sunday Night Baseball. And we'll be seeing McGwire and the Cardinals, as we told you, again on Wednesday, on our Wednesday Night Baseball doubleheader, and again next Sunday. We'll follow the Cardinals to Denver. Now, I'm now surprised when I learned that this was possible, that they actually let McGwire play in Denver. Because it seemed like it just wouldn't be fair. Base hit for Eric Karras.
Karras is really swinging the bat well. As you mentioned, he was on the disabled list starting the season, and Paul Konerko got most of the action. But since he's been back, he's really been swinging the bat well. 10 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Took that little slider from Stottlemyre and lined it right back through the box.
Glenn Hoffman, the new Dodger manager, came up with the Boston Red Sox in 1980 under then manager Don Zimmer. It was that year the backup at third base to Butch Hobson. But a year later became the replacement at shortstop for Rick Burleson. Fastball in there for a called strike. From Southern California originally. Grew up near Anaheim Stadium. Then the name of the home of the Angels. His dad was Ed Hoffman, the singing usher of Anaheim Stadium. Worked as an usher. Hoffman sang the national anthem and the Take Me Out to the Ball Game song for the 7th inning stretch. Of course, Glenn Hoffman is the older brother, and his kid brother is the man who never fails to save a game for the first place, San Diego Padres, the team that are so far ahead now of everybody in the National League West, Glenn Hoffman's team included. And Luke, 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Mark McGwire over to first base. It's interesting, all the stuff you read about McGwire now, and how it's almost how embarrassed he is with all the attention and having to always be asked to talk about himself. That's a foul off the left field line. McGwire talks about how amazing this whole thing is, and he himself is amazed by it, because as a guy who went to college, he was still a pitcher. You know, he was only recruited by one school, University of Southern California. And he didn't even want to go to USC. He wanted to play pro ball, but he received such a poor offer from the Montreal Expos. They offered him about an $8,500 signing bonus. He finally said, well, maybe I ought to go to school. Maybe I'll be worth more.
What's wrong with $8,500?
What'd you get?
3,000.
And your mom told you to go to school, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
2-2 the count to Luke. That's a foul. Fighting off some tough pitches here from Stottlemyre with Beltre on deck. Yeah, how hot is it here in St. Louis tonight? The kid got a whole bucket of ice water dumped on him, and he feels like the luckiest guy in the farm. Oh, congratulating. At least you're cool, man. 2-2 the count to Matt Luke. Deep into right field. Jordan right at the wall, jumps. It's gone. Matt Luke with his 6th home run for the Dodgers. He is 2 for 2 in this game. And Stottlemyre with that great slider, but this time perhaps not as sharply thrown as he would have liked. So Luke, who had the game-winning home run yesterday in the 8th inning against Jeff Brantley, puts the Dodgers ahead again today in the 4th inning with a home run.
Well, it's a curveball. It's not a slider, John. Watch this. It's a curveball, and he just goes out and gets it. And Jordan tried to time his jump, and he did time it, but it was just a little too far for him. And Luke gets a home run.
Now Beltre. Right field. Deep again. Jordan at the wall. This time he's got it. Keeps throwing Beltre first pitch fastball, and he keeps hitting him hard. He had a single to left center in the 2nd. One down, and Charles Johnson up now.
When I talked to the Dodgers in the locker room before the game, specifically Charles Johnson and Sheffield, they seem to feel that this team is starting to come together and starting to gel. You know, they had a lot of new faces, a lot of things happen. Manager being fired, general manager, a lot of different things happen. He said that he feels like they're starting to come together now. And that's important because these are guys who played for the Marlins last year on a winning situation and won the World Championship. So they know what a clubhouse is supposed to feel like. And they say this one is starting to feel pretty good.
Johnson got an RBI single his first time. Count down 1 ball, 2 strikes. John Hope Park on deck. 3-2. The Dodgers are leading now in the 4th inning. Gary Sheffield. Off the mask of Pagnozzi. Well, you know, the Dodgers finished 2nd to the Giants last year. They had a pretty good year, although a disappointing year. If you made only had 14 players left from last year's club, you'd say, wow, that's a lot of changes. Well, they have only 14 players left from opening day this year. Throws out Johnson. 2 down in the 4th.
And only 2 players that started. You know, basically Karros and Mondesi are the only 2 players, you know, that started for them last year. Todd Zeile at short at 3rd is gone. Of course, Mike Piazza. And they've got a whole new look to their ball club. Eric Young came late in the season. Wilton Guerrero was the starting second baseman at the beginning of the season, but Eric Young became the starting second baseman after they acquired him during the season from the Rockies.
And they still have Young. He's just on the disabled list right now.
And I think he really adds something to their ball club. Speed and base stealing ability, and he's turning into a good leadoff hitter.
Well, he's had this problem with his quadricep that finally put him on the disabled list. He sat out a few games and then came back with it. And despite those problems, he has 33 stolen bases this year. So just that speed. They don't have much speed otherwise. Mondesi never running.
Except on Sunday night baseball. And we don't have them enough Sundays to make a difference.
0-2 the count to Park. Slider misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Park, who hit into a force play his first time. Dodgers 3 and the Cardinals 2 in the top of the 4th inning. Dropped down from the side with that slider. Park was able to fight it off. Both of these teams right now looking at the wild card, although the Cardinals have so many teams between themselves and the new first place wild card team. It's going to be real difficult for them. Wait, after dropping it, contact line is safe.
And he also looked like a pretty good hitter. I mean, he's got 8 hits this year with 3 ribbies, and he's swinging the bat pretty well. He hung in there on a couple of sidearm sliders. And this is a tough play. This ball's hit deep in the hole. Clayton goes over. If he catches it cleanly, he has a chance, but he did not. And as you mentioned, Chan-Ho Park hustling down the line gets there.
Well, I have a hard time to understand this exactly, Joe. I mean, it was, as you say, a tough play, but they're scoring at a hit.
He still had time after he picked it up, you're right, but he was rushing his throw.
And I think he should have picked it up in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough play, but he should have picked it up.
You go about that theory that Major League players are supposed to make Major League plays? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, if you reach out to your backhand and it goes right into the middle of your glove,
Don't get a big lead.
I think you should pick that one up.
I think I'll tell Royce, because, I mean, Major League players are supposed to make Major League plays.
Oh, now you're going to go to Royce and say, yeah. Now, understand, I said it's a tough play, but my partner, John Miller, he was really getting on you. That is a tough play.
That's a tough play made by a Major League player, you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
That is a tough play.
I mean, this is a great play. I mean, he is fully extended, catches it in the web, picks it up, fires him out.
A hot, muggy night on the banks of the Mississippi. Dodgers 3, Cardinals 2, and quite a play here.
Well, this is a very fine play by Pat Kelly. Now, watch. I mean, he is fully extended on this ball. See, he gets a good jump, goes to the right angle. Now, look at that. Right there, he's in midair and makes a nice catch. Look at that, fully extended. Now he has to get up and make a nice throw, because Guerrero runs very well. Now watch this. He is fully extended. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is just perfect. Look at that. Fully stretched out toward right field, gets up. I love those second basemen who can play and make Major League plays. You know, now he says, well, you earned it, young fellow. We're going to towel you off. That's probably a little ammonia water. Give you a little wake-up call there.
Barry Weinberg, the veteran trainer.
Yeah, was with the Oakland A's for a lot of years.
They help you cool down, big guy.
Yeah.
Ron Gant with a swinging strike one. Looks like he's getting on himself there for chasing a high pitch from Chan-Ho Park. Park and the Dodgers leading now 3-2. Last of the 4th inning. Dodgers have won 2 of the first 3 games in this series, including the 10-8 victory yesterday in a game they trailed at one point 8-3. Gant, Mabry, and Pat Kelly coming up here in the 4th. Pat taking.
Now, pitchers are like hitters, and I watch Chan-Ho Park, and what he'll do every once in a while is he'll open his hips too quickly, and he throws across his body. That's when that fastball runs way away from the right-handed hitter. It goes way off the plate outside. That's when he's missing badly. He starts to open up a little too soon. And like I said, it's just like hitters. I mean, it's the same thing exactly. He's bounced back since that first inning.
Yeah, he labored terribly in the first. Well, what do you mean pitchers are just like hitters? I always heard just the opposite.
Well, but hitters, you have to stride, keep your hips closed, and everything goes together. Pitching is the exact same way. I mean, if you open your hips too quickly, you'll be throwing with nothing but your arm. You throw across your body. And, for instance, a hitter is the same way. If he opens up too quickly, he has nothing left to swing with.
Todd Stottlemyre, the opposing moundsman. 2-2 the count.
I learned that sitting and talking to Tom Seaver a few times.
Oh, quit showing off.
Well, I name drop every once in a while.
What did you talk to him about? About all the times he got you out?
Oh, when he was my teammate, we sit there and we talked about pitching, and I always wanted to learn about pitching and everything else in case I decided to be a broadcaster when I retired. Yeah, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do.
So it was Tom Terrific who taught you all.
Oh, I sit with Tom. I sit with Steve Carlton. I mean, I've talked to some of the greatest. I had a conversation with Sandy Koufax on the plane about 2 weeks ago. Learned a lot about pitching from him.
Hop foul, back out of play. Johnson coming back, but it's well in amongst the spectators. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And, John, you know what I found from talking to all of them? That their philosophies were all very similar. I mean, it's really interesting. They were all different types of pitchers, but Greg Maddux, and talking to Koufax, he felt like he was, he thought similar to what Maddux thinks about middle of the plate out and all these things. Most of these pitchers all had very similar thoughts about pitching, even though they were different types of pitchers.
3-2. Well, occasionally you'll see Sandy Koufax at a ballpark.
Yeah.
And managers will always ask him to come and meet his pitchers and impart some words of wisdom.
So a lot of people think that he just overpowered hitters.
That is a fair ball. Gant is going to get extra bases as Luke comes up quickly with it. But Gant is standing at second with a double.
Well, I mentioned Gant, good fastball hitter, middle of the plate in. Let's see where this pitch is. Middle of the plate in. And he rips it. I mean, this is where Ron Gant likes the ball. Middle of the plate in, belt high, and I mean, he puts a charge into it, rips it down into the corner. And he runs well, so it was an easy double for him.
10th double of the year for Gant. Now here is John Mabry. Pat Kelly on deck. You have Mabry bunt. Left-handed hitter. He doesn't need to bunt, right?
No, he shouldn't. Well, bunt for a base hit.
Nobody covered third there. And Park recovers in time to get Mabry at first.
But that was a proper play by Beltre. He's supposed to come get that ball. You cannot let the guy bunting beat it out for a base hit by him standing at third base. So good job. Sacrifice works. Well, you know, that is really giving up an out because you figure that most times the left-handed hitter should be able to pull the ball.
Well, you saw 3 other ball games going there. The updates. Well, the Dodgers are going to bring their infield in here for Pat Kelly. Now, you've got the pitcher up next.
Well, that's why. They figure if they can get past Pat Kelly, they're going to be able to pitch to the pitcher. And even though Stottlemyre's a pretty good hitter, he's still a pitcher.
Gant bluffing down the line from third. I mean, Gant was acting as though he were just about ready to take off.
And I felt like that bothered Chan-Ho Park when Mabry was up the last time. Jordan was doing the same thing from third base, and it seemed like it bothered Chan-Ho Park a lot.
Keep an eye on what Gant was on the tiptoe like he was really getting ready to take off. Now he is taking off. The suicide squeeze, but then he bunts into a double play. They put the suicide squeeze out, and that is why they call it the suicide squeeze.
That was suicide.
Really tough to stop this play unless the batter pops it in the air. Dodgers 3, Cardinals 2. Things could have gone better for the Cards there in the 4th inning.
Well, you're right, John. They decided to put the squeeze on. Now, watch. Gant does a great job. He doesn't give it away. By that, I mean there's no chance for them to pitch out. The hitter, Pat Kelly, just doesn't do his job, and all he has to do is get it on the ground any place. You don't try to guide it. All you want to do is get it on the ground, and you see Gant's frustration there. He knew he did his job properly, but Kelly couldn't get it on the ground.
So it goes for the Cardinals right now. 3-2. The Dodgers continue to lead as Alex Cora is the hitter against Stottlemyre. Strike 2. Cora has grounded to second, grounded to first. Raul Mondesi and Gary Sheffield will follow. Hit well down the right field line to foul.
The Cardinals really have a lot of decisions to make, John. Another way to stay cool. And Todd Stottlemyre is going to be a free agent. Brian George is going to be a free agent. Royce Clayton is going to be a free agent. Delino DeShields is going to be a free agent. So they have to decide which ones they're going to try to keep and the ones they're not. In fact, a lot of people felt they were hedging their bets with Brian Jordan when they signed J.D. Drew and drafted him, because they think of him as maybe a replacement in the outfield for Jordan in case they do not come to an agreement with Jordan. And I understand Royce Clayton is not going to be offered, a chance to stay, and the Shields may have other opportunities. So it's going to be maybe a new-look Cardinals team. But they're also going to free up a lot of money if this happens, and they can go out into the free agent market.
Well, they talked with Brian Jordan's agent, Jim Turner, on Friday. And Jordan, according to Turner, is willing to stay here in St. Louis for less money and for fewer years than they feel like he would be worth on the open market. But he also said he was very disappointed in the talks on Friday. And so nothing really to report in terms of Jordan and the Cardinals getting together on a contract there.
Well, he said, Turner said he was disappointed because of all the incentives for games played. They wanted him to sign you know, a contract with a lot of games, you know, with the incentive being games played. And you said no other Cardinals had games played incentives in their contract, according to Turner. So that's kind of interesting.
Jordan, who's been in there regularly this year and 2 years ago, but not last year. And even 2 years ago, he did have some injury problems for a while. Nice play by Clayton to get the speedy Cora.
That's that Major League shortstop right there making a Major League play, John. That was a very nice play right there. And in a lot of ways more difficult than the one he didn't make. I mean, this is a tough play. Watch this. I mean, gets it in between hop. He reaches in and has to straighten up, and then he got that quick snap throw. And he gets Cora at first base. Nice play there by Clayton.
I mean, the one that gave a hit to Parker, he backhanded it, waiting for it, backhanded it, and the ball bounced off his glove.
And it was a pitcher running.
Here's Raul Mondesi, struck out in single. He takes a called strike. It is 0-1.
Beautiful pitch there from Stottlemyre, right over the outside corner, and he keeps Mondesi honest a lot of times by coming off the plate inside, so that opens up the outside part of the plate.
1-1 to Mondesi. Keep waiting for Mondesi to have that big breakout year. Yeah, he's the guy now you think of, and it's more his club now than it used to be. And he really has been putting on a show here of late.
And everyone felt that he would really benefit from having Gary Sheffield here and watching how patient Sheffield was, because Mondesi's problems in the past have been not getting a strike to hit. He swings at a lot of bad pitches.
Stottlemyre keeping the ball away from him. That one fouled into the upper deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And everyone felt that just him watching Sheffield day in and day out, he would learn to be a better, more patient right-handed hitter. Because think about Piazza and Karros, they were more free swingers. And so Mondesi kind of fit in the mold of those two guys. And now with Sheffield here, he's learning how to be a little more patient, yet stay aggressive.
Now, what was that you were saying?
That's what I said. That's what gets him in trouble. That's actually what gets him in trouble. He will chase a lot of pitches, but I have to give Stottlemyre credit here. That was a good pitch. He starts him away with a fastball right on the outside corner. That's almost a perfect pitch. He misses off the outside corner. He goes back away with a slider. Fastball fouled away. And he chases the slider off the plate outside. So that's, you have to give Stottlemyre some credit there. He made some good pitches.
2 down here is Sheffield. Ball 1. Sheffield has popped to third, and he is grounded out to first.
Since I'm name dropping, I'll tell you something else I learned from playing with Pete Rose.
There's that slider.
Pete said to me one day, John, he said, we'd all hit 190 if pitchers weren't so stupid. I didn't want to say that when he was still playing because someone may have taken exception to that. But since he's retired now, I will say that. But he used to say that all the time.
1 ball, 1 strike, and Sheffield batting with 2 down and nobody out. What did he mean by that?
Well, it means that if they didn't make any mistakes, he would never get a hit. If they throw sliders like that on the black, how are you going to hit it?
Well, Stottlemyre looks unhittable.
That's exactly what he's talking about. And a lot of times, pitchers are unhittable if they do not make mistakes. And there you see what he's done with his slider. 22 pitches, 15 of them have been strikes. They got 2 base hits and 3 outs. They've taken the other one.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Sheffield.
There's Mrs. Stottlemyre. Pretty big rock there on her finger, huh, John?
I didn't notice.
Man.
Sherry Stottlemyre. And the strikeout. So a very impressive inning for Todd Stottlemyre. But Mrs. Stottlemyre looking rather pensive nonetheless. Sunday night baseball from St. Louis. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. The Dodgers lead the Cardinals 3-2, and Todd Stottlemyre will lead it off here. It's the second time that he has led off an inning, hitting 8th in the order rather than the customary 9th for a pitcher. He singled back in the 2nd inning leading off, but then the 9th place hitter, Pagnazzi, hit a double play ball, and Joe was interesting because had it been the reverse, had it been Pagnozzi, say, hitting 8, and he had hit a single, well, Stottlemyre probably would have bunted.
You're right. Well, John, but I brought up the point years ago, and you ignored me, as you usually do, when I brought up the point that I thought in a normal lineup that your worst hitter should hit 7, not 8, you know, in front of the pitcher.
I've been telling everybody ever since.
But the point is, you know, excluding the pitcher, I mean your worst hitter. Because if you're 7th, I always felt that your 8th place hitter should get on base, have be a better hitter. He gets on base, has a chance for the pitcher to bunt him over, or he can get the base hit, extend the inning so that the pitcher will not be leading off the next inning, because that's the way you want your defense. But here you have the Cardinals with the pitcher leading off 2 times in a row.
Well, the guys, the actual position players who've been hitting in the 9th spot have hit more poorly, really, than most of the Cardinal pitchers.
Right.
Since this experiment started. And there is Stottlemyre down on strikes.
Lost his bat, too.
He lost the bat, and Bill Hahn, the plate umpire, found it right off his shin. 5 strikeouts for Parr. 1 away.
Well, La Russa just feels like he's trying to get more people on base. But also, he doesn't want to disrespect any of his players by having them hit behind the pitcher. So I think I understand that, because what you're doing here, when you have a Pagnozzi hitting 9th, you're really not adding anything to the top of the order, because he's going to clog the bases, for one thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, La Russa said that in the American League, because of the DH, you can have that 9th position be sort of a second leadoff position. He actually had a guy named Bill Allman many years ago when he managed the White Sox, who filled that role very nicely. And a lot of managers, if they had an extra player with that kind of speed and whatnot, they would hit him 9th as sort of a second leadoff man. But he's not doing that here. He's got Pagnozzi hitting 9th in this ball game. The guy who could be a second leadoff man in his order tonight is Pat Kelly, but he's got him hitting 7th.
Right.
But I think La Russa is afraid that it would send the wrong message to Kelly.
And that's true. I mean, you have to have the cooperation of your infielders. Pagnozzi's in a hurry to get back to the bench anyway, John. He only threw 2 pitches. That's 2 strikes. And Pagnozzi was walking back to the... Watch, this is 2nd strike. Watch this. He takes off. He thinks that's it.
Oh, man. Man.
And they have to call him back to hit.
And that sounds like a lot of negative thinking to me, Joe.
Yeah. That say a lot about your concentration. Look, oh, he says, come on back.
That's a foul out of play.
Yeah, but I mean, there are a lot of different things that you can do with a batting order, a lot of different philosophies on a batting order. I mean, it's one of those very subjective things. I mean, your opinion and your, knowledge of the game, you could have a certain batting order, and I could have a different one. Peter may have a different. I mean, that's just the way the game is.
Yeah, but not many have a lineup this different.
No.
Right?
No, I agree with you. But I understand Tony's point and what he was trying to do, but I think if you make up your mind you're going to do it, then you have to do it. And you have to say to the guys, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Pat Kelly, I want you to hit 9th. Don't be offended. I'm just making you a second leadoff man.
And
you can go now.
You're done. Yeah, you can go back now. 2 down in the Cardinals' 5th inning, and leadoff man Royce Clayton comes up. Well, in 1956, Bobby Bragan managed the Pittsburgh Pirates, and there was a time that year where he took his top 2 hitters and put them in the top 2 spots in the batting order, Dale Long and Frank Thomas, instead of having them hit 3rd and 4th. And the guys who ordinarily would have hit 1st and 2nd were hitting 8th and 9th, and he had the pitcher bat 7th. So he was getting, the occasional extra at bat. That's a foul by Clayton. For Long and Thomas, kind of, get the most he could from them. And except for the very first inning, the guys who would have been hitting 1st and 2nd were doing the same job. They were the first 2 guys up in front of his best 2 hitters the rest of the night. But that was a different idea, a different point that La Russa seemed to be making. His point is trying to get more men on base from McGuire, whereas Bobby Bragan is trying to get more at bats for his best hitters. That one took a bad hop and then bounced off the glove of Beltre. The throw to first too late by Cora, and safe at first is Clayton. Well, Beltre charged with an error.
You're going to get a chance to go tell Beltre I said he made a bad play. Because I think, you see, watch, the ball's hit, you have to come get it. Right there, come get the ball. He goes back. He plays that into an error. See, he bent back on the ball. You have to come get it, because even if you come get it and you knock it down, you still have time to pick it up and throw him out. But you have to come forward on those high choppers if you're a third baseman or a first baseman.
When I was a kid, we used to, my coach used to call it letting the ball play you.
That's exactly right. I mean, Brooks Robinson would have come forward, taken it on the short hop, and threw to first base. And I'm sure Beltre will do the same thing when we see him in a couple of years. He will be adjusted to Major League third base, and he will come get that ball.
Brooks Robinson. How about Michael Schmidt? Would he have come?
Michael Jack, yeah.
How about Greg Nettles?
He probably would have came in barehanded.
Right. How about Jimmy Davenport?
Oh, yeah.
Ken Boyer. We're here in St. Louis.
You're right.
Ray Lankford has gone deep tonight for the Cardinals. McGuire, by the way, has struck out and singled. He would be next. So trying to get McGuire at bats with men on base. And now the key for LaRussa to get that done right here is for Lankford to reach base against Park. 3-2. L.A. is leading. Foul out of play off the left field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lankford back in the first inning. Took one to left field.
Remember, John, the wind was blowing out at that time, and that ball got up in the wind and just kept going. When he first hit it, I didn't think it was going out.
Yeah, and Luke didn't either, the left fielder. 2-2. Clayton at first. 3-2.
Well, he's about to dig a hole for himself, helped out by Beltre not being able to come up with the ground ball from Clayton, but better not walk Lankford and have to pitch to McGuire again with no margin for error.
There goes Clayton. That's into center field, a base hit. Clayton will go to third. And McGuire is coming up. McGuire. McGuire with 42 home runs. Maris at this same point in 1961 had 40.
You see, has not done well with runners in scoring position. 0 for his last 21.
Curtis ain't not actually had a hit with a man at third or a man at second or both. Such as he's got a man at third right now. Since back in June the 12th, when he hit a grand slam, was the last time he'd gotten a hit in a spot like this. 2-0, and Park did not seem to be too interested in pitching to him right here.
Well, I think Park is saying, hey, man, I got in trouble, but it wasn't of my own making. I don't know if I need to test him one more time here. I've been lucky to get him out once, and he hit a ball that stayed in the ballpark. You have to decide what you want to do. And Beltre kept the inning alive with an error on Royce Clayton, and then Lankford singled to center field. This is a tough pitch. What do you call? You know, I say you don't go with a fastball unless you go way up and in. Yeah, you got to throw him a breaking ball. I don't think you can throw him a 2-0 fastball in that situation.
I don't think the odds are good. McGuire's going to see much to hit here.
Well, if you're Park and if you're the Dodger, I say, hey, I throw a fastball here, just make sure I get it up and out of the strike zone. If he wants to swing at it, then he swings at it. Well, he threw him a curveball. Man, a 3-0 curveball.
And that is the 101st time this year that McGuire has walked.
Well, let's take a look here. The first pitch, curveball, fastball up. Another curveball and another curveball on 3-0.
Now Charlie Huff is out to the mound to talk to Chan Ho Park. The Dodger bullpen is busy. The bases are loaded for Brian Jordan. Now, one thing, I mean, Brian Jordan, it's not like having Mickey Mantle hit behind you, as Maris had, as Darren Hall is warming up in the L.A. bullpen. But Jordan is hitting .329 and has a triple in this game. So the game could be at a key juncture right now as Park, with the bases loaded, 2 down, has to face the Cardinals cleanup hitter. The runners, Clayton at third, reaching on the error. Lankford singled. He's at second. McGuire with a walk at first. 3-2. The Dodgers lead. And here's Jordan. Starts him with the breaking ball and misses.
If you have a good fastball, I still believe that with the bases loaded, you need to try to throw it and spot it. You don't throw it down the middle, but you try to spot it, because if you miss with the first pitch, now the hitter can zero in and just zone in even more than he could on the first pitch.
Too far away for the fastball.
See, now you just dig yourself a hole, and Jordan can sit there. Even if he makes a good pitch now, Jordan doesn't have to swing at it.
3 men on, 2 men down.
Jordan is looking something in the middle of the plate in.
Right in there with a fastball. Wow.
Yeah, but that was a pretty good pitch, John, in that it had movement on it. Watch the ball. The ball kind of sinks in. Watch, see that ball? See, there's some movement on that. And 2-0, you want to make sure you get a ball. You zone into a spot. He was looking for something probably bell tie in.
And you saw there, time granted distance. Johnson was giving him that rather emphatic target on the outside. 2-1 the count. Clayton, Lankford, and McGuire get their leads. But back to the breaking ball and hit foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I tell you what, that was a big league pitch right there. To be able to throw a 2-1 breaking ball after missing with so many breaking balls in the last 5 or 6 you've thrown, to be able to throw it at that time, you know, it really takes a lot of guts. I mean, because if you miss with it, now it's 3-1, you got to give him 2 pitches. But when you make that pitch, now you've got him thinking, well, he threw it 1-2, he may throw it again. I mean, 2-1, he may throw it again.
Well, is he going to throw it again?
No, he should throw a fastball because he's got him off balance.
Fastball for the strikeout.
Well, that's the way to pitch. That's perfect pitching right there.
So Park pitches around McGuire and then comes back to get Jordan. Karras coming up. Dodgers lead. 3, Cardinals 2. John Hope Park with some great pitching to leave the bases loaded, striking out Brian Jordan with a good fastball and blew it right past him. Mickey Hatcher wearing a mic. Here's what he said after.
These guys can do it. Yeah, what happened, man? That boy.
Well, the pitch that won him the battle was a 2-1 curveball, not the last fastball.
Eric Karras, ball 1 from Todd Stottlemyre. Not just that it was a breaking ball, but because it was a good one.
Right. And in the back of the guy's mind, he knows that he wants to get him. He says, hey, I'll throw you another breaking ball. So as you do that, you have to wait just a hair longer, and that lets the fastball get by you as it did there. So good pitching there by Hope Park. Good pitch calling by Charles Johnson.
Knowing what pitch to throw in a given spot and then being able to throw it.
Right.
Karras is out number 1. He's 1 for 3 in the game. Clayton throws him out. Cardinals tough night offensively. They've had 10 men on base and are 0 for 4 and have hit into 3 double plays. Meanwhile, Matt Luke, with Karras aboard in the 4th inning, took care of business himself for the Dodgers. Matt Luke going deep for the 2nd day in a row. He got 6 home runs for L.A. in only 116 at-bats.
Well, he may be the power-hitting left-handed hitter they've needed for the last few years.
That would be ironic, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
They actually waived him back in June. They had a roster problem. And he was the odd man out. He was claimed on waivers by the Cleveland Indians. And then 6 days later, Cleveland had a glut of outfielders and a roster problem. They put him on waivers, and the Dodgers reclaimed him. Deep to center. Lankford way back there. He'll watch it go. Up into the Botanical Gardens there in center field. Well, Joe, you said it first. I'm going to give you all the credit. Matt Luke may be the answer.
Yeah, I mean, he hit a game-winning home run yesterday, and now he's hit 2 home runs in today's ball game. I mean, it looks like he's got a good stroke. He's tall with that long extension. Looks like he can really attack the ball. He hit a curveball the last time. This is a fastball, and it's not a bad pitch. It was supposed to be away a little bit more, but it gets a lot of the plate, and he drives it to straightaway center field. Good hitting.
He has homered 3 times in his last 4 at-bats. That's a pretty good home run hitter there.
When you're hot, you're hot.
That sounds almost
McGuire-like, huh?
McGuire-like, yeah. Beltre is shallow left center, and on the run, Ron Gant. He went into a slide after he caught the ball.
A lot of people may not remember when Ron Gant first came up, he was a second baseman for the Braves. He came up as a second baseman, and he's been transferred to the outfield. There you go, you're right. I think Ron Gant has bad knees and stuff, so when he caught the ball, I think he just relaxed his body, John, more than anything else, instead of trying to stop.
2 down. Here is Charles Johnson. He has singled home a run and grounded out to short. Dodgers ahead 4-2. Shallow right. Long run for Pat Kelly. And he makes the basket catch in foul territory.
I like that second baseman.
Matt Luke goes deep, though, for the second time in the game. Gant coming up 4-2 L.A. It's been the Matt Luke show so far here in the home of Mark McGuire. 4-2, the Dodgers leading. Now, just before Matt Luke came up in the last inning, Mickey Hatcher had a message from my partner, Joe Morgan.
Hello. Joe Morgan, pass the word. This is our left-handed power hitter.
I did pass the word without help, huh? Now I know I was right, huh? Thanks, Mickey.
See, I thought that you had
heard it
on your own.
I did.
Decided that maybe this is the guy, and it turned out Mickey Hatcher was the one cluing you in.
That is interesting, though.
John Hope Park to Ron Gant. Actually, just as
he must have heard our cut-in today when I said they needed a left-handed power hitter.
yeah.
That's probably what happened.
And he wanted to clue you in. They already got one.
Yeah, that they have one. And maybe he's right. Let's hope he's right. There's Mickey Hatcher. He was a pinch hitter, supreme, and just Mickey, they hustled all the time. He's one of those guys that just battled. Got his uniform dirty all the time.
Ron Gant has struck out and doubled. Facing Park here, and the count is 3-0. Mabry and Kelly will follow. Cardinals need some base runners. They're trailing 4-2. Now, by the way, there'll be a lot of folks in San Diego, for instance, who will not be so quick to say, let's hope it's true.
Oh, well, I just like the players to do well.
A lot of folks in San Francisco might have that same sentiment.
I still like for players to do well. I like for young players, especially a guy who's been waived 2 or 3 times, I want him to be successful.
3-1 the count to Gant. Popped up. First base side. Coming over, Charles Johnson. And that is out number 1. Let's get an update now from Larry Beal.
Hey, John, Orioles and Angels in the 6th. Omar Olivares on the mound. His initials are uh-oh, and you can say uh-oh because Eric Davis sends it high and deep and aloha. Chris Hoyles with an RBI doubles made it 2-1 Baltimore.
Eric Davis, when he's healthy, he's putting up some impressive numbers for Baltimore, hitting around 300. John Mabry. Left field. Blue. 2 men gone. Mabry very quickly retired here.
John, just to clarify my position, I was pulling for Matt Luke because he's a young player to hit well. Now, if you went down there and started hitting, I'd pull for you, too. I'd want you to be successful. See?
Well, and I appreciate that. I'm rooting for him, too. Matt Luke, I just had this vision. I was only thinking of your welfare. Extra bases here for Pat Kelly. Luke up for the ball. He'll have to throw toward third. Pat Kelly. I mean, if you're a Cardinal, then you have to like what you've seen from Kelly the last couple of days.
Well, especially defensively, John. And one thing I like for people to remember is second baseman's job is to play defense first. Just out of the reach of Beltre. He got there just a hair late. They were playing him off the line, and the ball goes in the left field for a double.
Now, Todd Stottlemyre hitting 8th rather than 9th with 2 down. And so they have to go to the pinch hitter right here. Tom Lampkin. Bullpen activity for the Cardinals. John Frascatore warming up in the bullpen. We'll see him in the 7th inning. So perhaps they had to actually pull their starting pitcher a little bit early because he was hitting 8th rather than 9th.
I mean, there are a lot of positives to what Tony's doing, but there are also some few negatives, and I'm sure he figures the positives outweigh the negatives. And that's probably correct in the way that he wants, you know, what he's trying to accomplish. You know, we've always said in baseball there's always more than one way to do something. You know, and, you know, Tony's trying to get more at-bats from McGuire in his own way.
And I'm rooting for him to do well.
Right, good.
Here's Tom Lampkin. Big curveball from Park in the dirt. 4-2, the Dodgers leading in the last of the 6th inning. Lampkin is hitting .232, 4 homers, 23 driven in. 3 for 11 is a pinch hitter, including a pinch hit home run. 4-2, the Dodgers are leading for the huge crowd here in St. Louis on a hot night. It's a hot, steamy night, Joe. This is summertime, right, in St. Louis? The dog days.
The dog days, you're right.
Keep cool, man, any way you can.
Oh, he's doing is circulating hot air.
3-0 to Lampkin. Pagnozzi, a right-handed hitter, is on deck. The only other left-handed swinger the Cardinals have available is the veteran, the switch hitter, Willie McGee. Dodgers get activity in their bullpen going again. Park has worked hard tonight in the heat. It's a 4-pitch walk to Lampkin. We mentioned how hot it is tonight, and there's a guy who can make it hotter. Flame-throwing Antonio Osuna. And here comes Glenn Hoffman. We might get the change right here.
Yeah.
He has signaled to the bullpen. We are going to get the change. Osuna has been summoned. Park departs, leading 4-2 with 2 on, 2 out, and we'll be right back. ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. And by the new Philips CD recorder, the revolutionary way to make a CD as unique as you are. John Miller and Joe Morgan from Busch Stadium. Sunday Night Baseball. Hot night in St. Louis, Joe. But that doesn't affect us, does it?
No, not really.
No.
I think it affected Chandler Park, and I think Hoffman made the right move at the right time, because the last 4 pitches he threw, he really didn't have a lot of energy behind them, and I think he was just worn down. I mean, it's very hot here.
Now,
and the Dodger pitchers aren't used to that.
That's right. And Osuna is a guy who can make it hot on a hitter. More than 1 strikeout per inning on the average. Pagnozzi, the hitter, 2 on, 2 out. A strike on the outside. Well, it's hot here. Park obviously seemed to run out of strength there at the end. Kelly at second, Lampkin at first. A 4-pitch walk to him, and that was all for Park. But it doesn't affect you and me, Joe, because we still get the same quality of commentary that we always.
You're right. That's right, John.
Yeah. I didn't say high quality. Todd Stottlemyre pinch hit for in this inning. Finished the 6th inning before departing. The slider from Osuna that misses. 1-2. Osuna had been the closer for a while. When the Dodgers' new GM, Tommy Lasorda, traded for Jeff Shaw, Osuna felt unappreciated, and he told the newspaper writers that he wanted to be traded. Fastball off the outside. Osuna thought he had it. Park was hoping for that call.
Well, it appears that it's outside. Watch Johnson's target. Yeah, you see Johnson trying to pull it back a little bit. Close pitch.
Incredible nerves there by Pagnozzi to take that one. Nerves of steel with 2 strikes. Fastball fouled off to the right. Chan Ho Park threw 99 pitches. He leaves ahead 7 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, but the 2 base runners belong to him as well. Kelly at second, Lampkin at first, 2 down. Here they are. 4-2. The Dodgers are leading in the 6th inning. And he struck him out. Got him chasing the high hard one. The Cardinals have left 7 men on base, 5 in the last 2 innings. 4-2, Dodgers. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, and the heat obviously does not affect us. We have our coats on, our ties. Yeah, totally unaffected by those kind of elements, because that's our concentration level. Right, Joe?
Well, we're supposed to have that kind of concentration level. But actually, John, it's a pretty good ball game in that both pitchers have pitched well enough to be ahead in this ball game. Stottlemyre gave up the 2 home runs to Luke, and Chan Ho Park made some big pitches there to Brian Jordan to get out of a jam. So, well-pitched ball game and a well-defensed ball game.
The National Home Run Watch continues. McGuire has not gone deep tonight. Griffey did not go deep in Seattle today. Sosa did not go deep in Miami. And Chan Ho Park pitched around McGuire once, gave up a single to him, and then watched Osuna get Pagnazzi to hold his lead as we head now into the late innings. And John Frascatore comes on in relief of Todd Stottlemyre for the Cardinals. We look at his numbers. Frascatore, by the way, interestingly enough, will bat 9th. And Lampkin stays in the game to catch, batting 8th.
Well, more conventional lineup now.
There's the view up in the center field scoreboard, the hand-operated scoreboard, but again, very traditional in terms of the scoreboard and the out-of-town scoreboard here. The Fenway Park, Wrigley Field style out-of-town scoreboard. I mean, I hope they have a fan or something up there. It's going to be real hot duty on a night like tonight.
Yeah, it can get a little warm there.
If you strike out with the bases loaded, they stick you up in that scoreboard running the hand-operated board for a night. Antonio Osuna, who came on for Chan Ho Park, will lead it off here. Then Wilton Guerrero and Alex Cora. Dodgers are leading 4-2. And Mabry throws him out. There is 1 away. The Dodgers, 4 games out of the wild card at the start of the day. And with a win, will be 3.5 out, because there's a new wild card leader. The Cubs have gone ahead of the Giants in the wild card standings. At the same time, the Cubs are 5 games back of Houston in the Central. Houston look pretty strong right now, although they'll have to go without their outstanding closer, Billy Wagner, for at least a couple of weeks. We certainly hope he's going to be okay. So far, the prognosis on Billy Wagner is very positive.
Well, John, I was watching that game, and that was very scary.
Wilton Guerrero lined out to right center. Fine play turned in by Jordan. He's lined out to left center. He's grounded out to second, and an outstanding play turned in by Pat Kelly. So he's been victimized by the Cardinals defense twice in this one. Wilton Guerrero, brother of Montreal's Vladimir Guerrero. Had a pop-up. That was kind of an orthodox looking swing, though.
Yeah, well, it looked like he had a little hitch, John, in his swing, especially on pitches inside. Vladimir doesn't have any hitches. I mean, he can really swing the bat up in Montreal.
He's got a chance to be a superstar.
Yeah. Hitting well over 300, hitting for power.
Got 18 homers. Got a tremendous arm in the outfield, great speed. I mean, he can do it all. 2 down, and here is Alex Cora. 4-2, LA leading in the 7th. We'll keep up with McGuire on Wednesday night baseball. Second half of our Wednesday night doubleheader. McGuire and the Cardinals in San Francisco against Bonds and the Giants. McGuire returning to the Bay Area. started his home run assaults many years ago with the Athletics. That's caught by Gant in left center. A 5-pitch inning for Frascatore. Top of the order for the Cardinals. Clayton, then Lankford and McGuire. The power's coming up. We'll be back.
Larry Beal in the studio with an update. Tampa Bay and Texas. The Rangers erupt for 5 runs in the 5th. Will Clark goes downtown off Brian Ricard. Now 7-3 Texas in the 7th. John, you're talking standings. A Texas win and an Anaheim loss puts the Rangers in first in the AL West.
Both clubs have been struggling of late. The Angels and Orioles tied in the 6th inning in Anaheim, meanwhile. And here in St. Louis, Sunday Night Baseball, the Dodgers lead the Cardinals 4-2. But as you can see, Larry Beal has us plugged into all of the goings-on of baseball right now. Games in Texas, Anaheim, and also in Phoenix, for that matter. I mean, the heat is really on, Joe. Games in Texas, Phoenix, and St. Louis. Same night. I mean, where is the heat hottest? Royce Clayton has walked and scored a run, struck out, and reached in an error by Beltre, which contributed to getting Park out of this game maybe a bit prematurely. And the out is recorded at first on the throw by Cora. I mean, Park had to throw quite a few extra pitches in that 5th inning on the error by Beltre, which kept the inning going.
Here's Mark McGuire and bat track. Look at that swing. Not as quite as the uppercut that he used to have. He used to have almost a straight-up uppercut. And 97.5 miles an hour is 0.5 of a second faster than the fastest that we had recorded so far, and that was Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds. So Mark McGuire is 97.5 is the fastest. I didn't think that he would be the fastest until I watched him hit a Billy Wagner fastball in the upper here. And I said, yeah, he may have the fastest bat speed this year.
Lankford has hit one tonight with McGuire on deck. He bats here in the 7th. 2 for 3 for the game. His 2-run first inning homer, accounting for the Cardinals' only runs up till now. 4-2, the Dodgers are leading.
And McGuire hit a grand slam off Osuna opening day, so he feels comfortable against him. So if Langston can find a way to get on, McGuire would represent the tying run against a guy that he has had some success against.
He also homered against Osuna here on Friday. Although Osuna said after the game, he said, man, I made a horrible pitch to him.
Well, there's a lot of guys will say that. 42 home runs later.
Brian Bohannon gave up a booming shot early in that game Friday. He said, I made a good pitch to him.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, give the hitter some credit sometimes, you know. Pitchers always say they made a bad pitch. But every once in a while, you have to give the hitters credit, because they could have popped that pitch up, even though it was right down the middle of the plate.
3-1 to Lankford. Look at that. He gets a walk in front of McGuire. Well, we mentioned McGuire and Osuna on Friday. Here it is. And that is not considered a long home run for McGuire. That'd be like the longest home run of the year for a lot of guys. I can't understand how Lankford can get a walk with McGuire coming up.
Even if you have to pitch underhand, you have to make him hit the ball, make him put it in play.
So already Osuna has made a big mistake. Here is McGuire. Oh, fastball in there for a strike. Wow, what happened there?
Well, I think McGuire didn't feel like he would throw him that same pitch he threw him the other night. He figured he'd try to start him off with a breaking ball, and he didn't.
Lankford back to the bag at first. Lankford did something very odd recently. A couple of weeks ago, they were in Cincinnati. And he stole a base with 2 down on McGuire late in the game.
That's the pitch that McGuire was looking for on the first pitch, a breaking ball. And that's the perfect spot for it. Now watch where this pitch is, towards the outside corner and away. You better not make a mistake over the plate with that. He's got enough cushion here. He can try a couple of high fastballs if he wants.
Back with the slider. You know, something interesting going on here. On each one of these pitches to McGuire, thousands of flash bulbs are going off all around Busch Stadium. And the fans are apparently hoping to record in their private cameras A home run swing from McGuire. The fastball deep into left center field. This one is back to the wall. Under it is Mondesi, and he's got it.
Well, the Dodgers have lived good tonight. 2 times he has barely missed hitting a home run. This is actually a pretty good pitch. This is what I felt like he should have done 0-2. A high fastball up and in. It's supposed to be down the way. Now watch where this pitch is. Up and in. He didn't get it in enough is the only problem. See, right there is where you want it up, but you want it in a little bit more, and he knows right there that he didn't get it.
Well, you know, that pitch was not much different than the one he hit for the home run on Friday.
Well, but it was 2 strikes this time. There is a difference. You remember,
so when the pitch.
Yeah, when the pitch is thrown makes a big difference. I mean, if the pitch that he struck, Chan-Ho Park struck Brian Jordan out with, if he'd have thrown that 2-0, I guarantee you Jordan would have hit it. But with 2-2, Jordan was late on it.
Popped up. Cora out, but Luke takes it. So, Antonio Osuna living dangerously, but he beat McGuire. Now, Mondesi, Sheffield, and Karras. The Dodgers power coming up. 4-2 L.A. ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Minwax Wood Finishes. With Minwax, it's easy to make wood beautiful.
Well, yeah, he's going to...
The National Home Run Watch continuing from St. Louis. Cardinals trail the Dodgers 4-2, and Big Mac has been kept in the ballpark, although he gave everybody a few fleeting moments of excitement going deep into left center field before Mondesi squared up under it and caught it.
John, I said that the Dodgers have been lucky tonight, and I mean that. You know, the ball that he hit the left field for a single, a long line drive to the outfield. You know what the difference between that and a home run is? 1/16 of an inch, where you're just a little bit under it, and that ball would have carried out of the ballpark. So, I mean, that's how minute it is between him hitting a home run and hitting a long line drive to the outfield.
Here come the Dodger power hitters. Raul Mondesi chasing the Frascatore slider. It is 0-1. Mondesi has struck out twice and singled once. He also has a stolen base. Cardinals with some bullpen activity going. Left-handed. There's another slider, and he chased it again.
I know. We talked about how patient he has been.
Oh, you were the one.
Well, Manny Mota told me that he's been patient. That's the reason that he was starting to hit much better.
No, and I'm sure that you're both right.
Except on that pitch there, the first 2 pitches.
And I was right when I said he never runs anymore. Just before he stole. And he chases the slider, strike 3.
I mean, he didn't even get a strike in, did he?
The ESPN.com in-game box. At the top of the order, there's been nothing for the Dodgers, but it's been the Matt Luke show. Mondesi has a hit, Karras a hit, but Matt Luke has hit 2 home runs. 2 big flies. Luke with 3 homers in his last 4 at-bats here the last 2 days. Gary Sheffield, the hitter now. Frascatore got kind of a lot of motion in his delivery.
If he hides the ball well, it makes it difficult to pick the pitch up or the rotation.
Matt Luke on the bench with his 2 homers tonight. 4-2. The Dodgers are leading. And you see Sheffield laying off that slider.
Well, it also comes from sitting in the on-deck circle and watching how he pitches to Mondesi, and watching Mondesi chase those pitches. You say, I'm not going to do the same thing. As a hitter, you have to learn something about it sitting in the on-deck circle. You do not just walk to the plate without having a game plan.
Whoa. Sheffield.
He was going for Big Mac land.
Man. I think he might have reached it had he struck that ball.
Watch this. I mean, this is all he's got right here. I mean, a 2-0 pitch, and he just let it all go.
Everybody wants to get in that home run act right now. Base hit. Joe, give me just a moment, will you?
Okay, go ahead.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Actually, it shouldn't be the Office of the Commissioner anymore, right?
The Commissioner.
Just by the authority of the Commissioner.
Right.
Yeah. Eric Karras, the hitter. Grounded out, singled, and grounded out again. 1 for 3. There goes Sheffield. Close play. Quick throw by Lampkin. Nice pickup by Pat Kelly.
Well, actually, the play was made by Karras, too. He protected him. He kept the catcher from coming out. He kept Lampkin from coming out too quickly. He saw he was going. Lampkin couldn't come forward. See that pitch, that swing in there keeps him back. In fact, he still hits the bat. His hand was on the bag, though. You watch his slide in, very close play, but watch his left hand will be on the bag when he tags him, right there on the left wrist. But Lampkin actually hit Karras' bat on his follow-through.
14th steal of the year for Sheffield. People often forget about that part of Sheffield's game. I mean, he's got an excellent all-round game. He got a tremendous arm from right field, excellent speed, power. He hits 300, gets a lot of walks. I mean, he sets up a lot of RBIs for guys like Karras and people hitting behind him. I mean, ask Moises Alou. I mean, Sheffield had his worst year ever last year. Still walked about 1 million times, and Alou had his best RBI season. 0-2 the count to Karras. 1 out in the 8th inning. Too tight. Well, the Angels are ahead of the Orioles now, 4-2. Will Clark, we saw that upper deck home run for Will down in Texas. Mike Lansing has hit a home run for Colorado in a 2-2 ball game in Phoenix at Bob. Way outside with that breaking ball. Sheffield holding on at second base. By the way, the Sunday Night Baseball crew wants to send a get well message to one of our outstanding cameramen, Ken Harton. He's at home watching tonight. We send him our best wishes. And you know, the camera work just hadn't been quite as good tonight.
I noticed that myself. Hang in there, Ken.
You were blaming me. One of our top guys.
No, you're blaming the guy that took over for Ken.
That's slider. I am not.
We miss you, Ken. That's all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Get back.
And the other guy, you've done a good job, too. Whoever took Ken's spot tonight.
We're sorry you're not feeling well, and don't let it happen again.
All right, so good job, Jim.
Who's Jim? There's a slider just off the outside. And Frascatore wanted that call.
Well, Frascatore throws another breaking ball just off the outside corner. And it's ball 4. He thought he got the outside part of the plate with it. See, that's a little cut slider, a little cut fastball or a slider.
Well, Matt Luke, the man who's hitting the long ball tonight, 2 home runs, is coming up. And a left-hander is going to come in, Lance Painter, to face him. 2 men on, 1 man out in the 8th inning. The Dodgers already leading 4-2. The new pitcher coming on. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Dodgers 4, Cardinals 2 in the top of the 8th. 2 men on, 1 man out, and Lance Painter. And left-hander comes on. The only lefty in the Cardinals bullpen. And instead of Matt Luke, who has 2 home runs tonight and a single, been involved in that. Every one of the 4 Dodger runs, Lance Painter will get the right-handed swinging Trinidad Hubbard. The runners, Sheffield at second, and Karras over at first. 4-2, LA is leading. Trinidad Hubbard, 313 when he's played. He's done an excellent job for the Dodgers. But twice they tried to send him out to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
One time he was in San Francisco. He got to the airport to head out, and they called him at the airport, so we just traded for Jeff Shaw. Paul Konerko went in that deal, so we need you back. Here's Matt Luke, whose night is over. Yeah, pretty good night. Foul off why. Then, after the All-Star break, they decided to send him out again. And then he actually was going to fly home to Houston, spend the day with his family before reporting to the minor leagues. And Eric Young went on the disabled list, and they called and said, no, you need to get back here. And he said, maybe it's just God does not want him to go to the minor leagues. He says, either God or Tommy Lasorda.
I tell you what, John, Matt Luke has hit 2 home runs in this ball game.
Yeah. But he's not in there now, is he?
No, he's not in there now. I mean, I think I'd have to give him a chance to hit 3.
Well, he had a single and scored a run. He had a 2-run homer and a solo homer. He's been really responsible in one way or the other for every run they scored in this game.
And that doesn't earn you on his back in the 7th.
I mean, maybe he could hit this lefty, right? Let's find out.
Hey, we won't know tonight, will we? I just, you know, that lefty-righty thing is important in certain times, but when a guy's swinging as well as he's swinging tonight, it may not make a difference who's pitching.
Well, they don't think he can hit lefties, Joe.
Well, we see that. That's obvious.
That one is hit pretty well by Hubbard. Tagging is Sheffield. He's going to move over to third base on a deep fly ball by Hubbard. 2 out. Now an update with Larry Beal.
John, Joe, you guys got the McGuire watch. We've got the Eric Davis watch. This is his 2nd home run of the night off Greg Padaret. 2-run shot. The Orioles and the Angels tied 4-4 in the 7th.
Wow.
You said when he's healthy.
The Big E. I'm rooting for him.
Here we go, John. I mean, Luke was 2 for 10 against left-handed pitching this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
So, in other words, they haven't even given him a shot at it.
I mean, and he had 3 base hits tonight. I would like to have seen him take one more hack, personally.
And so would Tony La Russa, because that's why he brought the left-hander in there in the first place. Croushore is coming on now, a right-hander to face Beltre. 1st and 3rd, 2 down, 4-2 L.A. We'll be right back. New pitcher for the Cardinals, it is Rich Croushore, with runners at 1st and 3rd and 2 down in the 8th inning. And Adrian Beltre coming up. Croushore out of James Madison University, in the Cardinals farm system, beginning in 1993 when he was signed as a non-drafted free agent in June of '93. That means any team in baseball could have had him through about, what, 80 rounds in the draft, and nobody even drafted him. Now here he is. He's lately been the closer for the Cardinals. He inherits 2 runners here. Sheffield at 3rd, Karras at 1st. The batter is Beltre, right-handed hitter. Slider, a good one on the outside for a strike. So he lifted the one rookie, Luke. And now he's staying with Beltre, his 3rd baseman. 1st and 3rd, 2 down. That's a foul. 0-2 the count. Cardinals got 2 in the 1st. They have had many chances since then, but no runs since then. McGuire came close. We thought maybe he had actually hit one in the 7th inning, but it stayed in the ballpark in deep left center. Croushore with a 2-strike count. He has averaged about a strikeout per inning. Glenn Hoffman, the new Dodger manager. This is a... What was that pitch, Joe?
I was trying to figure it out myself, John. He threw 2 breaking balls, and that one looked like... It didn't look like a fastball, but I don't... You know what it is? A changeup.
Ah.
Yeah, that was a changeup.
Well, you know, sometimes they say pitches are unhittable. I don't think the guy could have hit that one. 1-2 the count. Soaring pop-up, shallow left. Clayton out, Gant in. Gant. 2 left for L.A. Ron Gant will be coming up now. Cardinals are running out of outs. 4-2, last of the 8th, L.A. leading. Dodgers 4, Cardinals 2 as we go to the last of the 8th inning in St. Louis.
And John, let's take a look at Mark McGuire's last at bat. in the 7th inning. Breaking ball. This is what, with 2 strikes, he's just a hair late on that fastball, only because he was looking for a breaking ball, and that's because on Friday night he had hit a home run off the fastball, but it's in an identical spot. Now watch where this fastball is Friday night. Watch where the pitch is. Look at that. Same spot as the pitch tonight, except he had 2 strikes on him tonight that made him just a hair later, and therefore he wasn't able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So there's a lot to be said about setting a hitter up. It's not necessarily the pitch you use to get him out, but how you set him up to get to that pitch.
Well, and also, as you pointed out, the first pitch was a fastball that he took.
Yeah, because he was
obviously looking slider.
Right.
After hitting the fastball against Osuna on Friday for a homer.
And then they were able to plant the slider in his mind and then get him out with a fastball, but they just barely got him out.
Here's Gant. The slider, base hit to left field. Trinidad Hubbard down the ball game to play left field. He pinch hit for Luke and stays in to play left. Here's the Wagner pitching summary. John Ho Park, 5 2/3 innings. 2 runs, 7 hits. His 4th strong outing in a row, though he had to throw 99 pitches in the heat tonight. Started to fade. Todd Stottlemyre, 6 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits. Pitched real well except to Matt Luke. As the force was with Luke tonight in St. Louis. Luke, feel the force. And he did tonight, that's for sure. Here's Mabry. Base hit. Stopping at second is Gant. He got a little bit of a late break. He got to make sure that ball goes over the head of Guerrero before he can really take off.
And he also has to respect the arm of Gary Sheffield, as you mentioned earlier. He's got a good arm.
Glenn Hoffman and the Brain Trust down there. Bench coach Mike Scioscia, Charlie Huff, the pitching coach, number 49. The Dodger bullpen is busy. Scott Radinsky.
Well, I think if you're the Cardinals in this situation, you have to lay down a bunt. You have been struggling, and you are at home, and you're 2 runs down. I think you have to try to bunt, although we saw Pat Kelly bunt into a double play on the suicide squeeze.
Yeah, I've seen him try to bunt already tonight, Joe.
Still popping it up.
I'm going to take the bunt off now.
Well, I don't think they are.
Why did he even bunt at that pitch? Pull the bat away in that pitch.
I don't think they're going to take it off yet. Well, you got to have the batter barrel above the ball. He does that. Well, then he drops the barrel.
Well, I mean, look what that pitch was. Just pull the whole barrel away. Don't bunt at that one.
But that's 90-something miles an hour. He didn't have time, he's thinking.
I'm afraid to have him bunt now, Joe. Really. Dodgers in very shallow at first and third. Well, he pulled away in that one, and it was a strike.
Back, and it's a strike, John. That's why he tried to bunt the other one. He didn't want to pull back and have it called a strike. Well, now he's in real trouble.
Gant at second, Mabry at first. Looking at his third base coach, Rene Latchman, for a sign here. Well, some execution on a couple of bunt situations here. One, a suicide squeeze, and now this sacrifice. Putting the Cardinals in a bad place where they don't want to go. I guess he thought it was bunting again, Joe.
Well,
very high
in the 4th inning, John, there you see Ron Gant breaks on the suicide squeeze. He pops it up, and it's a double play. Now, I mean, this tells me that they're not sure that he wasn't supposed to be bunting right there. Latchman comes down to talk to him.
Cardinals have not had a hit with a man in scoring position tonight. They got a one-out triple from Jordan in the first. Didn't score. A leadoff double from Gant in the 4th. He didn't score. They left the base loaded in the 5th, although that all started with 2 down. He got it down. It's a beauty. He is free. All is forgiven. Beautifully done by Pat Kelly, and the bases are loaded.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, when the coach comes down and talks to him like that, it tells you that the guy probably missed the sign. So you can't let him, just turn around and bunt like that. I think the defense just did not do a good job. Beltre comes right away, though. But see, he's waiting for the second baseman to get there. And in waiting, he did not fire the ball. And you can see that clearly he is safe at first base. But the second baseman was late getting there. And that made Beltre hold the ball a little longer. He didn't throw it quite as hard as he wanted.
A tale of two bunts for Pat Kelly. One cost he and the Cardinals dearly. This one, perhaps surprising the Dodgers a bit. Radinsky's coming on. Bases loaded, nobody out. Four to 2 Dodgers in this bunt play. Perhaps the turning point of this game. We'll find out.
Well, look where the second baseman is. He should be closer in here in case of a bunt, because he drops the bunt down. Now watch, Beltre comes in. Now watch when he picks up the ball. Right there, he's ready to throw. Look where the second baseman is, and here's the bag. He has to wait, and then he doesn't get a lot on the throw because he's afraid to throw it away. So that was the fault of the second baseman not being there in time for Beltre to throw him out.
So you're saying the experienced second baseman, seeing that the batter obviously has missed his sign.
Right.
He's over there talking with the third base coach. Should be thinking, hey, they might still be bunting. I better get a little closer back over toward first base.
And you have to be closer simply because, I mean, you can't let anything surprise you like that. I mean, that's the way it goes.
Roger Cedeno now in left field. With Radinsky on, part of a double switch. The bases are loaded. Gant at third. Mabry, the possible tying run at second. And Kelly at first. What a great bunter, by the way. Pat Kelly is. Yeah. Eli Marrero, the pinch hitter. The right-handed batting catcher, swinging in place of Tom Lampkin. Swinging and missing against Radinsky.
They'll start a little sooner on that fastball. Radinsky, he hides the ball from you, and then he kind of slings it, makes it difficult to pick the pitch up, and he throws pretty hard, and got a lot of movement on his fastball.
Cedeno, the new left fielder, bats ninth in the order. That's a foul back out of play. Quickly, it's 0-2 to Marrero.
Radinsky was a closer for a while. He didn't do a good job in the opinion of the Dodgers. Osuna was a closer for a while. He didn't do a good job in their opinion. So they went out and got Jeff Shaw. So they put Radinsky and Osuna back in the positions they had been successful in.
1-2. Well, now they really like the bullpen, too. They feel like they got a real deep bullpen with Radinsky and Guthrie from the left side. Osuna and a real hard-throwing right-handed setup there for the right side in front of Shaw. Also, Darren Hall is back, also a hard-throwing right-handed. That one could be 2. There's one. Back to first, and he's safe. Scoring in the play is Gant with Mabry taking third.
Good hustle there by Marrero, because they made that play about as well as you can make it. Excellent job by Castro. He actually came across that bag and fired to first base. So you have to give all the credit to Marrero for beating that out. It's not a sharply hit ball. He jams him a little bit, but watch. Good job by Guerrero. He charges, flips to second. He comes, gets it, and Cora fires to first base, just not in time.
And the big ovation is for a man who's become a Cardinal icon. Willie McGee is coming up now to try and deliver that big run. They're down by 1 with 1 out. And the possible tying run at third base. Charlie Huff to the mound as Willie McGee. McGee been around so long that he faced Charlie Huff when Charlie Huff was a young guy.
Willie's from the Bay Area, Richmond, California, and one of the truly great personalities in the game.
Meanwhile, a final from the ballpark in Arlington. The Rangers defeated the Devil Rays 7-4. The Rangers a half game back of Anaheim at the start of the day in the American League West. The Orioles in Anaheim in a 4-4 tie in the 7th inning in Southern California. Meanwhile, here's McGee. McGee is hitting .268, 7 for 29 as a pinch hitter. He has not been hitting well lately.
Well, Radinsky has a good fastball, and he threw that one right by McGee. But that's the way McGee is. You throw him one pitch, he looks bad on it. You throw it again, he might hit a line drive someplace.
Infield double play down. And quickly is 0-2 to, and in typical McGee fashion, he's up there hacking.
He is a hacker. And he has faced Radinsky 8 times in the past, hitting .375, 3 for 8.
Over there at third base, John Mabry. He is the possible tying run. Marrero, the runner at first base. 1 out. Well, Charles Johnson's got to be awfully quick behind the plate, and that low slider. Ball gets past Johnson here, and it means a run. Runners at first and third, 1 out. Not the fastball. Bouncing it foul. By the way, the Dodger closer, Jeff Shaw, pitched 2 innings here yesterday. Which is not all that unusual for Shaw. But on a hot afternoon here, he pitched quite a lot. He threw 37 pitches here yesterday.
I think that's why he made a double switch to save Radinsky.
That is bobbled, and the tying run will score. Guerrero could not come up with the tough hop cleanly. Otherwise, it might have been an inning-ending double play. He bobbled it, and Mabry has scored the tying run. And Marrero has moved into scoring position himself.
Well, baseball's a game of inches. I thought he was back a little too far the last time up on the ground ball. Now watch, this is a line drive, and it hits right in front of him. That's just a tough play. There's nothing he can do about that. He did what he was supposed to do. He got his body in front of it, and all he could do was just knock it down. I mean, he did a good job there.
So now here is Clayton, and a base hit to the outfield could put the Cardinals ahead here. Marrero, the runner at second base, 2 down. He'll be off and running at the crack of the bat. 4-4. Cardinals got 2 runs home here with infield outs. Just off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mark McGuire in the hole. Ray Lankford is on deck. Been charged. So now Marrero to third, and he definitely will score on a base hit.
Let's take a look and see if we can see anything. Well, I'm not sure about that one, but because he leaned in to get a closer look at the sign, I mean, that's kind of touchy-feely right there, John. You know.
Hey, a rule's a rule. I mean, the point is he's supposed to step off the slab.
Well, but he couldn't. No, he just leaned in to see the sign. He did not start. You have to make an attempt to start. I didn't see him start personally, but I mean, look, I'm not the umpire tonight.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Clayton. Clayton 0 for 3 with a walk. But nobody really argued a whole lot about it, right?
Well, Radinsky did. He was upset, and he said, "What did I do?" Hoffman kind of looked at him, but I think Hoffman's doing the right thing. You don't want to go out there arguing in this situation. You know, break your pitcher's concentration. Just let him try to get out of this jam.
I mean, even with the runner at third, whether he's at second or third, he's got to get the hitter out. One way or the other. Clayton standing in. And it's off the outside with a fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Radinsky wasn't sure what he did, so Hoffman can go out and ask him what did he do and have him explain what he did. You can always ask the umpire what he did. You just can't argue, you know, balls and strikes or a balk call, but you can ask him what he did.
And that is a foul tip for strike 3. But the Cardinals have tied the game. We go to the 9th inning. Charles Johnson coming up, and it is 4-4. Mark Petkazik on the pitch now. It's a 4-4 game. As we move to the 9th inning, the Cardinals with a 2-run 8th inning rally to come back and tie at 3 singles. One a beautifully placed bunt that surprised the Dodgers by Pat Kelly, and it surprised, I guess, anybody who'd been watching Sunday Night Baseball and seen Kelly try to bunt earlier tonight. So it perhaps was not so surprising that the Dodgers were surprised. Eli Marrero stays in the ball game to catch. He had come on as a pinch hitter for Lampkin. So it is 4-4. The Dodgers are at the tail end of their batting order with Charles Johnson. Then Roger Cedeno hitting 9th after the double switch, and Wilton Guerrero, the leadoff man, was the first 3 due up against Petkazik. The Cubs won their game in extra innings in Miami, 7-6. The Giants lost in extra innings in Houston. The Cubs now lead in the wild card in the National League, which we mentioned simply because the Dodgers are 14 games behind the Padres in the National League West and in 3rd place. But with a win here, they will be only 3.5 behind the Cubs in the wild card. So that is the race for them, at least for now. And it's strike 1 to Charles Johnson, who was 1 for 3 with an RBI. But Kaiser threw an inning here yesterday, but only threw 9 pitches in the game. Tapped slowly to second. And Pat Kelly throws him out. There is 1 away. Next Sunday, we'll continue with the National Home Run Watch. We'll take you to Colorado. What better place is there to watch for a home run? Mark McGwire. And the Cardinals take on Larry Walker, Dante Bichette, and Vinny Castilla, who's having quite a year. He got 30 home runs, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific. Rockies are playing right now in Phoenix in a 3-3 tie there at the top of the 7th inning. Here's Roger Cedeno. Jordan got a late break, but it doesn't matter. 2 down. Cedeno, first pitch he saw all night, swings at it and is an easy out. 2 down, and Wilton Guerrero coming up. In the last half of this inning, the Cardinals will have their biggest hitters coming up, Joe. Lankford, then McGwire, and Jordan. And if necessary, Ron Gant would be to a 4th. So they've got their lefty, Radinski. I would think that Glenn Hoffman would probably want Radinski just to face the 1 hitter. And he is getting his bullpen ready even as we speak. Wilton Guerrero at the plate against Petkazik, and it's a called strike. 4-4. Cardinals have not had many games like this recently. Would they been the team coming from behind? They have been blowing leads, in fact, all too often. Twice this week they've blown 5-run leads, including once yesterday. There is Jeff Shaw, the Dodger closer, who would probably come on to face McGwire. Minnesota acquiring Shaw from Cincinnati just before the All-Star break. Tommy, by the way, sitting there alongside the noted longtime St. Louis restaurateur Charlie Tito. 2 strikes the count. And that is foul. Mark McGwire was hugging the line, and he caught that one in foul territory. Now in the last half of this inning, Ray Lankford, who has a 2-run homer tonight, and Mark McGwire, who's been kept in the ballpark, and Brian Jordan, who has a triple in 4 trips. So the Cardinals' 3 biggest hitters. Oh, and 2 the count. Kakaina's got an interesting array of breaking stuff that he throws here.
Yeah. But he has to stay ahead of the hitters in order to get them to chase it. Change up.
2-2. Alex Cora is on deck. If the Cardinals lose this ball game, they would fall into last place in the Central Division, behind the Pirates. Well, Guerrero had a long night of it. This will make him 0 for 5 as Kelly grabs it. So now the big guys are coming up. Lankford and then McGuire. Brian Jordan due up third. 4-4. Dodgers 4, Cardinals 4. And we move to the last of the ninth inning, and the Cardinals will give it their best shot, their biggest sluggers. In fact, the number 2 hitter in this inning is probably the biggest slugger in the world right now, Mark McGuire, due up second. Don't forget, right after the ball game, stay tuned for Sports Center with Kenny Mayne and Dan Patrick. Highlights of the British Open. Some tape measure home runs elsewhere today, and all of the Major League Baseball highlights from around the American and National Leagues. That's coming up next, Sports Center. In fact, coming up next, right after Ray Lankford, Mark McGuire. This is an interesting situation. I mean, the Cardinals are way behind in their division, still way behind in the wild card race. Would the fans feel cheated if Lankford hit a home run to win the game here, Joe? would they cheer, but saying, you know, that's great, but
we wanted to see McGuire hit one more time.
Strike to Lankford. Radinsky probably facing just the one man here. Jeff Shaw had been warming up in the Dodger bullpen, although he's not throwing now.
Well, I think
strike 2.
Game plan is to probably get Lankford out and then decide whether they're going to pitch to McGuire.
That's right. Just because he's coming up doesn't mean they have to pitch to him if nobody's on base. Dusty Baker walked him intentionally in this ballpark in an extra inning game. Well, we'll find out right now. Strike 3. Lankford is quickly retired. Now McGuire. The cheer goes up, but we'll see if it soon gets turned to boos. And why are those fans smiling? I think because they know what's coming up, Joe.
Well, he's getting down to Krause, John.
Well, they're going to pitch to him.
Yeah.
Although there's pitching to him, and then there's pitching to him.
No, he's pitching to him.
McGuire has been walked 101 times, 22 times intentionally, but that's not the way Hoffman wants to play it. Now they're moving their infield. They're going to put 3 infielders to the left side of second. Maybe they ought to put one of them up in the upper deck.
Well, they also should probably move Carroll's over a little bit.
They're still hugging the line at first.
Yeah.
And again, the flash bulbs go off all around Busch Stadium as each pitch comes on to McGuire.
And you saw that graphic saying that Roger Maris didn't have any intentional walks. Well, Mickey Mantle was hit behind him, who was a switch hitter, so it didn't matter.
And that is ball 2. 2-1 to McGuire.
Well, I don't think that, you know, it's one of those, like you said, they're going to try to hit the outside edge, maybe get him to chase something just off the outside edge.
3-1.
Well, I think if you're going to 3-1, I think you have to go ahead and walk him.
Brian Jordan on deck. No, Joe. Glenn Hoffman.
Well, this will be way out of the strike zone.
And indeed it was. I just couldn't help, though, seeing Tommy Lasorda down there, Joe. Remember back to 1985 in the League Championship Series when Tom Niedenfuer was supposed to pitch around.
Yeah, Jack Clark.
Jack Clark.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he forgot, I guess. And Jack launched one that proved to be the game-winning home run and the series-winning homer that sent the Cardinals to the World Series.
Well, the question here is, do you pinch run from Mark McGuire, since he is the winning run?
Not so far.
Yeah, my answer would be no anyway, because you do not know how long this game is going to go, and you definitely want, you know, your big bat in there.
Jeff Shaw had been throwing, by the way, and we have not seen him since.
Well, they were probably trying to see how he feels, John, if you know, he pitched a couple innings yesterday just to see how he felt today.
The only closer in baseball who's thrown more innings than Jeff Shaw this year is the Giants' Rob Nen. Shaw has thrown 54 and 2/3 innings. So he has worked hard all year anyway. But 2 tough innings here yesterday in the heat. 37 pitches thrown. Meanwhile, Radinsky seems to have things well in hand here. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jordan. And McGuire still at first.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, they're playing behind McGuire at first base. I mean, I'm just not sure that.
Down on strikes is Jordan. 2 down. And Gant.
I don't think they will do it steal the base now, because if they do, then they'll walk Gant and pitch to Mabry. There's a good slider from Radinsky.
Now Gant. And one thing with Gant, if you throw that slider, you better not hang it.
No, you better not get it in the middle of the plate in. You're right.
Too far in. 1 ball, no strikes. Gant had a horrible year last year, racked with injuries, and one of his most memorable nights, though, of a forgettable year was a game-winning home run in the bottom of the ninth against Rod Beck of the Giants last year in this ballpark. 2-0, the count to Gant. And remember, in the last 8 days since he came back from the disabled list, he's had 4 homers and 10 RBIs, and he's had a single and a double tonight. McGuire still at first. That's over the inside. Well, the thing with McGuire now at first, he's never been a fast runner, even when he was a kid in school.
But he's not slow either, though.
As any of his former teammates will tell you. But he's not a guaranteed shot to score on a tweener out here.
Right.
A ball in the alley somewhere. 3-1. Although, on the other hand, he should be able to get a pretty good jump. Harris playing about 25 feet behind him.
Well, with the count 3-1, if you want to help him, this is the time to help him. Start him right here. And then I guarantee you can score on the gapper.
He's not running. Gant rolls it foul. 3-2. McGuire has not hit a triple. Talking about his speed. And what is it, 10 years? I mean, literally.
Well, I mean, the point is, though, if he hits it good enough to be, you know, off the top of the wall, it's usually over the wall, where the rest of the guys hit him off the wall and they bounce away for a triple.
Well, he's too busy hitting those big flies to hit any triples.
So you're saying he's not going to have a real good shot at hitting for the cycle.
He's running, and the ball is inside. Gant gets a walk. Yeah, McGuire's last triple was 1988, his second year in the big leagues. Now Mabry, the left-handed hitter.
Well, that could have been a tactical move that, you know, they pitched around both McGuire and Gant. Now they have to, you know, to get to Mabry, the left-handed hitter. We'll see.
Of course, the key to being able to do that was getting Jordan.
Yeah.
He struck out Lankford to start the inning. McGuire walked. He struck out Jordan, and then Gant walked. Mabry takes a strike. 4-4, last of the night. And one record that McGuire may well get this year. Whether he gets the home run record or not, he may get Ruth's walks record. Ruth walked 170 times one year. The thing that I find interesting about McGuire chasing the home run record is, unlike Maris, I mean, he has a long history of being a big-time home run hitter. His rookie year, he set the all-time home run record with 49 homers, most ever by a rookie. And he already has hit over 50 homers the last 2 years in a row, 52 in '96 and 58 last year. I mean, that's Babe Ruth-like. So the count goes to 1-2 to Mabry. Babe Ruth was not just a good base runner, but a fast base runner for most of his career. Ruth stole home something like 18 times. Stole home. And he hit a lot of triples.
When he was younger, he had that nice field. We only saw him a lot at the end where he looked like he was overweight.
Left field, falling. Base hit. Here comes McGuire. The throw. He slides. He's free. The game's over. The Cardinals have won it.
Well, I said he wasn't slow. He actually was running pretty well coming around the bag there. The throw was just offline. Charles Johnson made a dive.
Big argument, Johnson, and played up by Bill Hahn and also Glenn Hoffman afterward. John Mabry is the hero, and it proved to be the calm before the storm. Just when it looked like nothing was going to happen, Mabry crossed everybody up and dunked one into left field for the game-winning hit.
Well, he flips it into left field. Now let's take a look at, here comes McGuire. He sees he's got to go. Trinidad Hubbard gets it on a good hop. Now here's the throw. Now watch, the throw is offline just a little bit. Here comes McGuire. He slides. He is safe. He is safe. Cedeno is in left field. I'm sorry. Now watch McGuire. He's running pretty well, I think. He takes a wide turn, but his foot gets in just before Charles Johnson tagged him. He is safe.
And, Joe, the key there was what you were saying was good base runner. I mean, he cut the bag well. He got the good jump and then a great fadeaway slide.
A great fadeaway slide. Here comes Hoffman.
Glenn Hoffman saw it differently.
Now watch, McGuire's foot gets underneath the tag. He's on the base right there. Now he gets hit on the knee. And McGuire's looking at him saying, I was in there.
So McGuire scores the winning run. The National Home Run Watch. We were unsatisfied. He didn't go deep. He still got 42. Next week, we'll see him again in Denver as McGuire and the Cardinals take on Larry Walker and the Colorado Rockies, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We hope you'll join us then. Cardinals get a split in this series. Stay tuned for SportsCenter next. John Miller for Joe Morgan. Good night from St. Louis from ESPN.